Welcome to the countdown. While you wait for the show to begin, try to relax, grab a drink, sit down, and just enjoy the music.
Yeah. Ooh, whoa.
Don't Christina it out.
Okay. Diamond drills, high pressure on. That gold show suits you. Bump it for me, yeah. You frack it well. Rigs work non-stop all day long. Filling barrels with crude oil. Sell them for me, yeah. You frack it well.
She looks metallic.
Though I can't quite recall all the night's sensation.
And welcome to the shop. I hope you had a great week. Tonight we're having a review of Season 13, Episode 11, aka the Soda Challenge, or Shit Show in a Can, as I like to call it. Before we begin, as usual, let's greet the audience, which is 50% of the show, because let's be honest about it. When you rewatch this after it aired, the best part of it is reading the comments. So let's greet everybody in the chat. Let's start from the beginning. I'm going to lose some, as usual. We have Montana, Dixie, Mrs. G, Pedro Pena, so welcome to a new viewer, so welcome to the stream. We have Law for AYC, who else is there? Melanie, Sasha, Jules, Sen, Scroll, where am I? Felicia, Corinne, Jack H. Who else is there? Where is it? Oh, stop skipping, you fucking chat. Lena Clark. Blazing Bard, Jessica S, Gothboy UK, Vitriol Vic, Vitriolic as usual, and Zoe, OK Iraq, CDP, I'm sorry, I'm butchering everybody's name, and everyone else that is joining in right now. So thank you so much for joining us live. We're going to have a shit show tonight, because of course this episode was kind of the way it was. Now, before we begin, a couple of things, so we get them out of the way and we can go on with this review. We had a time difference. That is because in the U.S., in Canada, and I think even other country, you switch to summertime a couple of weeks before than we do it in Europe. So that means that the show is coming to you this time 1 hour later than usual. Now, next Sunday, we will switch as everybody else. So from next Sunday, we will be back at the usual time. Fantasia, welcome. A round of applause for Fantasia, our moderator that finally reached us. Oh no, you were there before. I didn't see you. So there is that. What else do we have? Oh, plugs. Let's get the plugs out of the way, because I always do them like 3 hours in the stream. Number one, I have a Twitter that I never use. So if you want to follow the channel on Twitter, or maybe hit me up with shit that you see, like Gothboy UK, who is always on the Twitter. I swear, if we will ever make money out of this, I'm going to hire you, because you are my second pair of eyes in here. Now, second plug, we have a Patreon. If you wish to support us directly, there is a link in the description for the Patreon. And third plug, we have a Discord. where we do different things. You can talk about everything you want, everything drag race. We have game night. Sometimes we have more in-depth talks. So if you want to join us in there for that, the link is in the description as well. Let me take a breath. Okay. One more thing, I don't have a confessional chart this episode because I didn't have time to make it. I have only half of it. That doesn't mean that I didn't track confessionals, because I did. As usual, we're going to have temporal incursion. Did any of you notice the temporal incursion? Because there were a couple of them. No, not a couple, more like half a dozen, but there is a lot of them. But we nailed down on the top 4 and the elimination order, because there are a couple of things that happen in this episode that definitely tells us who is the last queen who's going to be in the top 4, who is going home next episode, and who is going home after that. So we're going to go to our final speculation after the show. And this, I think, is really the final speculations. We will still have it if things change, but I don't think so. I think that this time we have them down. Now, we made all of that. As usual, while I do the show, if you wish to grab my attention, if you have something to say, if you want me to interact with the chat, just go with @TopRPDR videos and the comment will be highlighted for me. I'll try to keep an eye on the chat, but as you know, I'm not really good at multitasking. Yes, I know. I have a good eye when it comes to the show, but multitasking, no. Might be related to the fact that I'm a man, but we'll see about that. So, welcome to the chop. In this episode, we have the elevation of Candy Muse, Rosé, and Simone at the expense of basically everybody else. We have more temporal incursion from future Rosé, who is coming to narrating the whole episode. We have Olivia's Headed going completely downhill. The most rigged challenge in television history, because if you thought that the improv challenge, do you remember the improv challenge when they had to interject Candy's performance with confessionals of Gottmik, mismatched confessionals of Gottmik, telling us that whatever she was doing, it was working. Yes, it's going to be worse than that. So prepare yourself, don't get triggered, grab a drink, smoke a cigarette, eat something, stay calm. It's going to be just fine. Okay? Then we have a panel of judges who looks like it gorged on a bunch of organic fertilizer, don't they? I mean, I'm trying to be less direct a little bit, but they're basically full of shit. This is where they're basically full of shit. Let's laugh about it, because otherwise we are completely fucked. Then we have Untucked, where the keywords is collusion, convince yourselves. And finally, our final speculation with our top 4, with their edit and the prototype that they embody for this season. So now that we have all of this out of the way, aka 10 minutes of talking about nothing basically, let's move on to the review, shall we? So, we are back in the workroom. As you know, Miss Denali just went home. So what happened? Really a minute to recall for a second what happened last episode. Last episode, for the first time in this whole season, the queens were judged as a group. Why were they judged as a group? Well, because Denali had to go home, so Olivia had to drag her down. So they had to be judged as groups. A side effect of that is that Utica had to win with our hero, Simone. So this episode is going to be all about throwing Utica down the proverbial trash, down the proverbial drain, because she won last episode, and we don't want the audience to think that she's a good queen. No. Don't get it wrong. She has to go home very soon, so it's all about trashing Utica. So we are back in the workroom after this, and immediately we are greeted by a temporal incursion from Rosé. The one that you see at the left is our usual spiky hair Rosé, the one that's been traveling in time from a distant point in the future to push storylines, tells us what's happening, convincing us of different things that we see on screen. And the one from the right is Rosé, that probably filmed after this episode, because all of the rest of the commentary from Rosé comes from the confessional to the right. And it's a new hairstyle from Rosé, so it must have been from this episode. So, immediately after our incursion, everyone asks Olivia, "Hey Olivia, how did you feel about the fact that everybody pointed at you?" And you know how Olivia is. She's really, she's like, "It's okay, it's not personal. I know that it came from a place of love." But Olivia has a storyline, remember? Olivia is the sweet queen who turned out to be a sneaky saboteur behind the scenes. Remember what happened with Utica? Remember what happened with Tina? This is her storyline. And so Candy Muse is here through a confessional to tell us that Olivia is a diva, and whatever explanation she's giving us, it's basically a ton of bullshit, because she really is triggered immediately. We're throwing Olivia under the bus to elevate Candy Muse, because after her storyline has been established in the past episode, finally we're here where Candy Muse can keep it real and put the final nail in the coffin. So Olivia is immediately our first queen that gets thrown under the bus by the edit. It's not that somehow I do not agree with Candy, because we have had scenes in which you can clearly see it's not about the edit. It's really you. There is something going on with you. What is it? I don't know. I don't trust television to tell me what is it. I will see once we see what happens in social media. Now, from the chat, Utica, too late. Everybody loves Utica, so production failed. They definitely failed, but the problem is she will not be in the top 4 because of this kind of treatment. The possibility of that, for me, it's under 1% at this point. She has really been given the I throw you out of the window kind of treatment for that. Now, so we have our first moment with Candy Muse. And remember, this episode, part of it, is all about elevating Candy Muse. So we're going to see a ton of this kind of things happening throughout the whole episode, including temporal incursions. Now, where am I? Oh, here we go. Sorry, I forgot to put the image there. So the moment Olivia starts explaining herself, when she starts saying things like, "It's okay, it's not personal, it came from a place of love, I understand that everybody had to say a name for who they wanted to send home," everybody is bitch-facing Olivia. Everybody but Simone. Because Simone is our hero, so she cannot bitch-face Olivia. How curious is that, isn't it? We're going to see something similar going to happen later on, where Simone, as the hero, will not be used for bitch-facing. She will interject everything via confessional, because that's the privilege that you have when you're chosen as the hero of the season. And of course, after this, Candy Muse's confessional calling out Olivia. How nice is that? It's not even 5 minutes in and we're taking a huge dump on Olivia. And you can have every sort of opinion about Olivia, but this much kind of edit to trash someone, that's where I called going a little bit over the limit. Like a little bit, because I haven't even told you about the kind of music that you hear while Olivia is speaking, which is basically saying, oh, she is a piece of shit. This is what the music is telling you. And if you doubt the power of music in reality television, then go watch a new video from a creator on YouTube called Tentacruel, who just made a video about how the use of music in reality television manipulates viewers' perception. When the episode comes out, I'll have a link for that video as well, so that you can take a look at it and maybe understand a little bit more how everything that we see is precisely calculated for reaching out for an aim. So, moving on after that, what's happening in the chat? What's happening in the chat? The chat is going crazy. Groover Hornas, 10 Candy Muse. Yes, but for the right reason, not the wrong one that we are told on the view screen. Mark Goldby says, I don't find Candy entertaining anymore. Overly defensive outburst followed by tragic backstory over and over. I completely agree with that, but the point is, somehow she has to be redempted for a storyline, and at the same time, they need to keep us talking. Don't forget about that, because if we talk about it, they get free publicity. So, moving on to our next section. This time, brace yourselves. We have a mini challenge. We really have a mini challenge. Like, we didn't have something like this in ages. And the mini challenge is all fan service. It's all about Drag Race. It's all about past iconic queens, past iconic performances. It was really, really good. I loved this mini challenge. Of course, by the end of it, nobody gains anything because it's just, okay, you get some money to spend from one of our sponsors and whatever it is. But it's already a step forward because it's not a mini advertisement. You know what we were used to. It's not a mini advertisement. But here as well, we have Candy Muse, who somehow is asked the only question in this whole segment that has nothing to do with Drag Race, because it's a math question. And if you remember, when they got back in the workroom the day after, which is the shot on the top right, they had Candy Muse seemingly not knowing the difference between 25,000 and 2,500. So we have this moment during the mini challenge, and I'm going to call it mini challenge. Let me live my moment. Let me live my fantasy. During the mini challenge, oh look, Candy Muse is asked a math question, and she looks like she doesn't know it. How relatable is that? This is the second moment where they elevate Candy Muse. This time, it's about relatability. So, she's coming for Miss Cracker's gig, or, as we like to call her, Miss Relatable. Groover Horna from the chat says, did you see Tamisha's latest Instagram post story? There was a rude fan. No, I didn't watch it. I actually wake up in the middle of the night to watch Tamisha Iman, the lip sync battle that she does here on YouTube, but I missed the last one. It's been a crazy week. It's really been a crazy week. No, I didn't see it, but if you want to hit me up either on Twitter or on the Discord, and if it's something major, I will put it somewhere, maybe even in the next episode. So thank you for that. I really rely a lot on having extra pairs of eyes with you guys. So I accept any kind of contribution. Don't worry. Don't think, oh, I'm not going to send this because this is... No, just send it my way, especially when it comes from Instagram, because I hate the Facebook... how is it called? I hate the Facebook company, so anything that is Facebook, for me, they can go fuck themselves. So I'm not on Instagram. So if you noticed anything on Instagram, please send it my way, because I'm not keeping an eye on that at all. Like, at all. Now, after the mini challenge, we find out the maxi challenge for this episode. So the queens will have to write, act, and create a jingle and a commercial for a soft drink that has to be related to the brand. So it's a mouthful. You have to write all your commercial, then you have to act on it, then you have to create a jingle, and then all of this has to relate to your brand. It's one of the most promising challenges in all of Drag Race. I love this kind of challenges because, again, it's something creative, it's something stupid, it's something funny, and it's not something where the script was written by somebody else and assigned by the producers to every single queen. So they have full control of it. Well, full control until a certain point, because it's still an acting challenge. So you know the drill when it's about acting challenges. We don't really see the kind of rehearsal that they have. Things might have been cut out, things might have been highlighted to give us a specific impression, with the final product that we see on the main stage has been heavily edited, so we don't really know how effectively good or bad they were. So it's, the usual acting challenge on RuPaul's Drag Race. Nevertheless, we're going to talk about it, especially about the way they have been criticized for what they did in this challenge. So, we saw all the different queens preparing their commercial from this fucking can. So they are brainstorming ideas. And we see different queens. Notably, we saw nothing about Simone. Because Simone has to explode on the main stage tonight, so we see nothing about Simone at all. And the only positive part in all of this is that we have an incursion from our reigning queen, Jada Essence. And that's really the highlight of the episode for me. It's really nice that she gets some kind of publicity because she had one of the most difficult reigning year of all of the other queens because there were no gigs, we were all at home, she did the best she could online, and the show didn't really do anything to kind of plug these queens from season 12. They had like this afterthought of Halloween special that went on in October, and that was it. That was it. Nothing else. So props to Jada for appearing in this episode. Who is talking about my little energy drink? What problem do you have with my little energy drink? Yes. I drink the off-brand. How are they called? No, they're not called off-brand. How are they called? Off? Low brand? Well, whatever it is. But matter of fact, let's drink a little bit. We need more energy. This is going to be... Oh, my God. Sophia, generic brand. Yes, generic brand. 25 cents. What more can you ask? So, after this... discount brand, Goth Boy UK, yes, whatever it is, generic, discount, you know, the poor man energy drink. So, I mean, at the cost of a brand one, I get 4. So, and there is the same amount of taurine in there and caffeine, so we're not going to really complain about that. After this, we move to rehearsal, and something happens in here. I'm sure that all of you noticed that some queens were given more directions than others. Other queens were given absolutely 0 directions. Some queens only received laughs from the... who was there? From Carlson and Ross. And all of this, I'm sure all of you noticed. But there is something that maybe not all of you noticed. At the beginning of each segment, you have Carlson and Ross asking each queen, what is your can about? What does your soda do? And each and every one of them is allowed to explain it. When it comes to Utica, magically, nobody asks her. Instead, we are hit with the confessional of Utica talking about the fact that they allowed her to use the cow as a prop. So you as a viewer already have no idea what a drink is supposed to do. But remember, by the time we get to the critiques, you have to be kept in oblivion about what the hell does this drink make. Because you have to be convinced that it's a shit show for Utica. So already in the rehearsal, she's the only one that it's never asked what her can is about. How nice is that? Because I'm sure they asked her. They had to ask her. But we were not shown anything of that. Grover Horner. Little saves the people in Europe. Oh, yes. Yes, it definitely does. Well, you know, Jules, Carlson and Ross whispered loudly how great Simone is. Yes, there is this segment that is completely out of the world when they watch Simone and they are basically climaxing during her performance. They are like, oh my God, she's so good. She's already selling it. Oh yes, do it already. What the heck? Get a room, you two, you three, whatever it is. Get a fucking room. So after recording their commercial, of which we see almost anything, really. We really see almost anything. It's mostly about pushing storyline, this whole segment. We finally get back in the workroom. Yes, we're going to speed up because I want to get to the critique. That's where the core of the show is going to be. We go back to the workroom. And remember, the workroom before the main stage and the runway is the moment in which we're going to see who is going to be eliminated. It's also the moment where the queens get humanized. So immediately, the queens are back in the workroom and we're hit with another temporal incursion from Rosé. This time in a mismatch confessional. On the right you see Rosé from this episode, and on the left you see Rosé from this episode, and on the right you see spiky hair Rosé. That comes again from the future to tell us something interesting about Tina Burner. Tina Burner, she's been doing the same thing this whole time, and it's good, but kind of one note. Does it sound familiar? Because again, she is coming from the future to push a storyline about Tina. Because in order to throw Tina under the bus, by the time we get to the critiques, the kind of critique that she gets applied to everyone for no reason at all, because it was not even in the assignment. It wasn't even in the assignment. So after this, we have a humanizing moment with Candy Muse. And this is what? The third plug that we get for Candy Muse? No, it's the second plug that we get from Candy Muse. So we have this moment with Candy in which she explained that she was gay bashed, which is no joke. It's absolutely no joke. And I don't want my critique of the way she's been portrayed to be misunderstood as not believing what's happening or demeaning what actually is happening to her. The funny thing is that it comes at the right moment, at the right time, in the right episode, because now she's opening up about the fact that she was basically a victim of an homophobic attack. So what happens? Of course, the producers are more than happy that this is happening right now. How curious. So our dear editors immediately bombard us with a mismatched confessional. We have green eyes Candy Muse coming to us back from the Tamisha's fight. If you remember, when she had 3 mismatched confessionals in less than 15 seconds. Cue the emotional music. Cue the sad face, and most of all, cue the shilling from the show, because she is like, yes, Candy Muse, you can say everything you want about Candy Muse, but in this, she is really smart. She is like, yes, all of this happened to me, but thanks to this competition, I am making new friends. It's like, what the fuck? Can't you make friends outside of this? And she's not the only one. She's not the only ones. Because next to her side, we have Rosé and Tina, who have to appear like they fully support Candy. And Rosé is the second queen who is shilling again from the show. It's like these queens are closed in a box when all this time they've been closed in the box. They never met any other drag queen. They never had any other friend. They had to wait all the 20-something years of their life to come to this competition and finally make friends. And finally realizing the human side of drag queens that hides behind the mug. So then again, we have Rosé talking about how nice it is to be on Drag Race so that she can see a softer side to Candy Muse. Have you tried going out for a drink with Candy Muse? Because that does the exact same thing, and you don't need to spend $50,000 in outfits in order to get that. So this is something that, take my advice, Rosé. And, in all of this, the surreal part in all of this is that on one hand, I completely understand what Rosé and what Candy Muse are doing. They are playing their role. They are doing what it's necessary to do to excel in this competition, which is smile, be nice, shill for the show, make it all about sisterhood, make it all about being nice, but it's still an act. That is the problem with it. The heart is there in the message. The problem is that if you act it out, it's not effective. It looks like shilling. And if it looks like shilling, I watch it and I'm drawn out of the experience. I was watching all of this and thinking, what the fuck is going on? Is this an ad for RuPaul's Drag Race inside of RuPaul's Drag Race? Because then I go back to the mini challenge and thinking, oh shit, this episode really is a 1 hour long ad for RuPaul's Drag Race, because it continues in Untucked. It's a constant message that we get bombarded throughout the whole episode. So after this moment in which we are shilling for Candy Muse, we are shilling from the show, we have one of the most surreal moments in the whole episode. Because we are intercepted with Tina Burner coming to defend Candy Muse. And she goes through a confessional. Remember, all of these queens are seeing that Candy Muse is bombing in the competition. They are there. They see that she lip-synced twice and she didn't know the words, and she was saved both times. They know exactly which kind of game is being played here. They know that Candy Muse is going to get a redempted villain edit, and she's been pushed to the top. So it's in their best interest to go with that kind of storytelling if they want to last. Because if they start calling it out, they will be cut out from the show immediately. So I'm not saying they are being disingenuous when they support Candy Muse and the things she's been going through. I'm just saying that that kind of behavior is heavily incentivized by the fact that they are in this kind of show with this kind of editors. So we are intercepted from a confessional from Tina Burner telling us that she is proud of Candy because Candy is able to take a step back. Candy is able to learn. Candy is able to apologize. Candy has a want to open a conversation after difficult situations happens, and Candy has a heart. Dear God, that is a fucking mouthful. And I'm not doubting the fact that the real person behind Candy Muse might really have this quality. Because it could be, you know, when it comes to these queens, I always give them the benefit of the doubt, because you never know what goes on with the editing. But we saw fucking Candy Muse on Twitter this whole time. She has a paper-thin skin. She goes out for everyone that calls her out. She is constantly attacking any kind of fans, even those who are in good hearts, and say, listen, Candy, but this thing that you did was not really good. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? She called people from Australia, people from the third world, because they had, how is it called? They had a lack of water. She called them from the third world. It was deleted. She apologized for that. So you see, I'm on board with the apologizing things, but it's not like... When I think about Candy Muse, from what I see from her social media, I don't think of a person who is there to open a conversation so that she can learn from her mistakes. I mean, it's Candy Muse. It's a different experience. Some people live for it. Personally, I don't care for it. It's not interesting for me. But she is definitely doing something. And we all know that it's always very dramatic. This is her brand. But, you know, after all of this that Tina tells us through a confessional, the impossible happens. We have a Frankenstein's confessional, a Franken sentence from Tina, because after saying that Candy can step back, Candy is able to learn, Candy is able to apologize, Candy wants to open a conversation, Candy has a heart, she has to say that she loves Candy. So we have a Franken sentence from Tina so that she can say that she loves Candy. And it is so obvious that it boggles my mind that there was somebody in the editing room that did this and thought, oh yes, it works. It works. It's perfect. Nobody will notice. Nobody will notice. Even though Tina is like, oh yes, about one thing that... no, she goes like, one thing that I love about Candy Muse, it's like this. That is like this. It's mind-boggling. I mean, I understand completely pushing for your storylines, but come on. I mean, come on. We are not that stupid. We are not that stupid. So this is the second push that we get for Candy Muse. We're going to have a third. In all of this, because, you know, this episode, it's not just about shilling for RuPaul's Drag Race, it's also about pushing storylines and pushing contestants. So we have to have Gottmik laughing at one of Rosé's joke, because by the end of this episode, she will have to win this challenge as well. So we have Gottmik edited to laugh at Rosé, even though the scene after we see that the makeup in her eye is already completed. So who knows what she was laughing at? Nobody knows, but you know. It is how it is. Oh my god, this episode was a shit show. It was a complete shit show. Let me drink something, because after this we're going to move to the main stage and the critique, which is undoubtedly the best part of the show. Oh my god. Chat, what do you think? Tell me, what do you think? My god. This live is all about venting, because if you take this too seriously, you're going to get triggered. There is no going around it. They packed so much in this episode. They packed so much. Dark Magic, I don't even watch the RuPaul's Drag Race anymore, but I will always watch your stream. Oh my god, thank you. Daniel Harris, this episode was awful to watch. Gothboy UK, shit show. George, everyone is tired of candy right now. Nightmare Troubadour, we had a very reasonable episode than this, so we don't get used to. Yes, we were having too much of a good run, because the last two episodes, especially the last episode, were really good compared to RuPaul's Drag Race standard. So we saw this coming. Coffee, this episode. View. Mrs. Gia was triggered during the whole episode. Mark Goldby, what is cute? However, was that candy was present BTS in Gothmic's new... Oh my god, Mark. Somebody call an ambulance for Mark. He is officially stroking again. Groover Horna, this episode was fine in my opinion. Yes, I mean, if you smoke a joint, sit back and relax, it's all fine. It's all good. It's all good. Trust and believe. Corinne, go read the Tamisha T on the Drag Race Drama subreddit. Maybe I will read it later, after we are done the show, and we will talk about what has actually happened with them. I will get up on board on what is happening with Tamisha. Jules, Gothmic hasn't stopped the Paris Hilton Jantasy. Oh, yes. I guess we could say that she's pushing that a little bit too much, that she's not being deferent enough. Can we say that? Because it's going to be the carrying storyline for the judging during this Maxi Challenge. So, without further ado, let's get to the main stage and the critiques. Now, remember, the challenge was write, act, create a jingle, all for a soft drink commercial that relates to your brand. This is how the challenge was delivered to the queens. Nothing more, nothing less. And the runway was Beast Couture, aka furries on the runway, if, you know, that's what gets you rolling. Oh my god. So let me pick up my notes, and let's start with Miss Utica and her Utican. Yes, I had to have extensive notes because the riggery is real in this episode. So, let's go to the Utican. The critiques for Utica were that she didn't know what she did. That they didn't get the typical quirky joy up until the end. So basically she was not on brand. Then Michelle loved the quirky, but it was too far gone and it made no sense. And in addition, she can't harness her own creativity. So apparently her commercial was not creative. For the runway, the only critique that we get is from Michelle, because she was not blown away. It's nice, but we've seen before. And we are already introduced to this theme for this critique, which is you cannot do the same thing. So on one way, they have to be on brand, but they also have to be different in the way they are on brand, which is an exploding mixture, because basically they can do whatever they want. To some, they will say, you are on brand. To some other, they will say, you were too much on brand. It wasn't different enough. Now, we've all seen this commercial. And if you know who Utica is, I think it was absolutely on brand because it was out of this world. It was quirky, it was stupid, it was over the top. It's absolutely quintessential Utica. So for me, it was on brand. What I will agree on is that you don't really understand what her beverage does, but that is mostly because of the edit, because clearly, if you look at the commercial, you say it makes you not depressed. Is it effective? Well, you know, when I see Utica having her drink, she goes from depressed to be completely. She looks like she's high. She looks like she has a couple of lines. I don't know how else to say it. It's a little bit extreme, but is it effective? So and so. I think that all in all, her commercial was not bad, but it was not really good. It was like middle of the pack for me, but definitely not the shit show that the judges are trying to make it look like, because yes, it was on brand. Yes, the quirkiness was there, and telling me that it wasn't doesn't change the fact that I have a pair of eyes. I saw the commercial, it was quirky and it was stupid. So they didn't say anything about her jingle. Remember, that was part of the challenge. They didn't say anything about it. They didn't say anything about the fact that it was funny, because that was part of the critiques for everybody else. Is it funny? Because for me, yes, it was funny. It was not. I had a good chuckle watching it. So, and of course, there is no mention of her makeup on the runway, because her makeup is really good, and by the end of this, she has to be in the bottom. So we better shut the fuck up about how amazing her makeup is for this runway. So immediately they throwed Utica under the bus. And again, I'm going to repeat it. I don't think her commercial was good, but it wasn't bad either. It was stupid and I liked it. It just went through. It was middle of the pack. It was not really thought out, but it was not bad. And I think we can all agree on that. And after this, we jump on to Candy Muse. Now, to Candy Muse, I'm going to read you first the critiques from Candy, because they eat her up from top to bottom, because they go like, "Oh, Candy, your commercial was so funny. You have a personality that can sell anything." And I'm like, no. She doesn't have a personality that can sell anything. I have social media. She is not selling. Well, she is technically selling her merch, so I don't know. Maybe that's what they meant. I don't know. Then they had so much fun watching Candy Muse, and she was just so funny, and she told a great story with her commercial. I don't remember any story being told in her commercial. Looking back at Candy's commercial for a can, which was called the K Special, to me it made no sense, and it was absolutely not on brand, because don't forget, you might like or dislike Candy Muse, but she knows her brand, and her brand is drama. It has been drama for the past 3 years. Everyone knows that, and she knows that everyone knows it, and she's mastering her brand in a very effective way on social media. So, what is this thing? Feeling of being in a VIP club? No, Candy, that's not on brand. Your brand is drama and illusion. This is your brand. You know it works, you know how to use it outside of it. This was not it. So already Candy is not on brand. Then they tell us absolutely nothing about, wait a moment, I lost the chart. There we go. How creative it actually was, because there was no creativity whatsoever. There was no difference, no before and after. Remember, we had it with Utica. We had a before and we had an after. You are depressed and you are completely high on one side. Candy Muse is the same note, but of course we are told absolutely nothing about that. We have no comment on her jingle. Thank God, because the only one that's going to be praised for her jingle will be Simone, because she's the hero. Everybody else, even though they had, basically all of them, they had good jingles, we had absolutely no comment about that, even though it was part of the challenge. Then we have no comment, I don't know if I said it again, on the creativity of it. I think I said it again. But it wasn't fun. it was no fun for me. She basically hit no marks. I didn't understand what it was supposed to be. Yes, I did understand it, but I had to make work to understand what it was. And your job is to draw me in, not makes me think so that I can understand what exactly are you trying to tell me. So that's why in the critiques they say nothing about this, because let's face it, she had to be in the bottom for this channel. Yes. She had to be in the bottom for this challenge. Look at the runway. What is that? That doesn't read Beast Couture. That reads like I had $10 and I had to fucking prepare something in 2 days. So that is what it is. But the critiques tell us, yes, it made no sense. The runway was ridiculous, but we loved it. It wasn't the assignment, but we loved it, and then everybody laughs. So, you know, Candy Muse can fuck it up, and we can just say, oh yes, but it was funny. No mention of the fact that Utica was basically read to filth, and she's probably the only one who actually made her dress for this runway. And she was told, well, it's okay, but we've seen it before. So what the hell is going on? But you know, it's Candy Muse. She's our redempted villain. And you know what the problem is in all of this? That people are going to hate Candy Muse because of this. Because already she has this kind of personality that she will come for you no matter what. She has this kind of brand that it's all about drama. And now this, that we ever pushed her. She is constantly pushed down our throat as this nice person that can be allowed to skate through the competition because she is the only one bringing any sort of drama in this show. Because apparently this show is all about drama. It's not about the art of drag anymore. It's not about the talent of these people. It's not about their personal stories. It's about drama, whatever it is. Chat. My God, chat. This was it. In a way, it's disheartening as well, because you might believe this and you might not believe this, but I really can relate to Candy Muse, because there was a time in my personal life in which for a couple of years I was exactly like her. I was unable to take criticism, I was angry, I was constantly scared of being attacked, I was insecure. I understand it and I can empathize with that. But this kind of environment is not going to help you. What is going to help you is people giving you suggestions and you learning to listen. That's how you get out of this situation. You cannot be complacent with yourself, and you have no use for people who are complacent with you. So she's basically been used throughout this whole season so that she can carry the season, and then she will be thrown down the trash. And this is it. And you might like her, you might not like her, but at the end of the day, she's still a fucking person. Mino says, Candy's brand was sitting alone in the VIP? Why not? Oh my God. My God. You know, it's disheartening, you know. And then again, you can have all sort of opinions that you want, but what the hell? What the hell? Gothboy UK, Candy's outfit was, in my opinion, one of the worst brought to this show. If not the worst. I don't know. There had so much. Do you remember the suing challenge that we had? That was a choice. That was a choice. Kyle Illustration said, wasn't a critique for Olivia that her drink makes you happy? Oh yeah, we're going to get to that. We are going to get to that. Don't worry. I have 3 pages of notes for all of these critiques. We're going to go to them one by one, and then you can tell me what you think about it. So let's move on. Let's move on because we have to. Let's have a drink before. You want to know what my drink is called? It's called Burn It Up. Good God. Moving on. Tina Burner. And Tina... they completely destroyed Tina during this critiques, because the point is, Tina has to go home this episode. We saw it coming. We've been speculating about it for the past 2 episodes. She was our first choice to go home this episode. Her storyline was over. Whatever it is that they had going on with Tina was completely done. She had her emotional moments, her humanizing moments, so we know she has to go home this episode. The problem is that they're going to pull all the stops in order to make it look like a shit show. So, Tina's can is called Burn It Up, and hell yeah. Burn It Up is the name of the can, and hell yeah is what you say after drinking it. Now, the critiques for Tina are that she was predictable. She was the housewives. And we've seen that before. And what they wanted was an improved version of her brand. It's funny how they didn't say nothing of this when they gave the assignment. They told each and every one of them, be on brand. They didn't tell anybody, bring an improved version of your brand. And some people, Candy Muse, weren't even on brand. But, you know, it's Tina. She has to go home. So she was predictable. She didn't bring an improved version of her brand. And she was too comfortable in her lane. She tried too hard without succeeding. And I was like, without succeeding? Her commercial was the only one that was funny for me. She really thought it all up. There was a clear distinction in the before and after. She brought in hot topics and make fun of that, like the fact that people are stuck in marriages without sex, like the fact that in Catholic religion, sex is not allowed. She had this moment where her partner is whipping her to force her to drink the drink so that she can transform into this sex bomb. And it was hilarious to me. I don't know if I have a fucked up sense of humor, but it was hilarious to me. The fact that she had someone whipping her up and say, drink. You drink the drink and become a slut. I think it was really thought out. It was the most effective for me. Out of all of them, this is the one that is going to be iconic for me, without any doubt. It was stupid, it was thought out, it had a funny message, it was well acted. The problem is, it was too good. They had to go so hard on Tina because this commercial was too good. It checked all the marks. So they had to go for the surreal. You are too comfortable in your brand. We need to see you evolving with your brand. And they continue. She was not elevated, which shows no growth. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? All of this show is about establishing a brand. What Tina is doing in the show, it's exactly what you have to do outside of the show. People have to recognize you. People have to know who you are. And it has to be done in a simple and effective way. So when you think about all of this, Queen, and you try to define them in very, very few words, Tina Burner is the funny queen who wears red, yellow, and orange. Gottmik is the one with the black and white face. Candy Muse is the angry one. Utica is the quirky one with very good suing abilities. Simone is the runway bombshell. Olivia is the smiling one. Rosé is the rose one. You know, this is what they are supposed to be doing, but in this critique, they are basically telling her to do the opposite of what she is supposed to be doing in order to grow her brand and grow her career. Because all can be sacrificed for the sake of carrying up a storyline. So she's told, you didn't bring any kind of improved version of the brand, which I agree. It was not an improved version of the brand, but that was not the fucking assignment. Can we talk about that for the moment? That was not the fucking assignment. Otherwise, all of them should have gone on this episode because nobody brought any kind of improved version of their brand. What the fuck is going on? And then they go for the runway. And thankfully, for the runway, they are nice about it. But this is not going to be enough to save her from the bottom because they say it's fun, it's a surprise, it's not too much on brand. But the makeup is not good enough. It's funny that they call her out for her makeup after last episode when she did somebody else's makeup and kind of fucked it up. But let's talk about everybody else's makeup because I noticed that there was a little bit of something going on with Candy Muse, wasn't it? Let's take a look back at Candy. Oh, look at her makeup. Do you see blending in there? I see no blending whatsoever. So, you know. Moving on. Tina has been thrown under the bus. Moving on to our hero, Simone. Now, before we begin with Simone, I want to say a nice thing about it. I enjoyed her commercial. To me, it was funny. It was nothing new because it was from Simone. It was the usual attitude that we get from Simone. It wasn't elevated. It wasn't something new. It wasn't the next level of her branding. It was the usual Simone that we get. Now, I see no problem with that, but of course it had to be a critique for Tina because somehow, you know, we have to apply different standards to different queens. I have no problem with the fact that all of these queens branded themselves, and I have no problem with the fact that Simone brought on the same attitude. The problem is, if you critique one for being always the same, you also have to critique the other for being always the same. And Simone brought on the same attitude that we saw over and over and over and over. She played to her strengths. I think her was the second best commercial after Tina this episode, because to me it was effective. Nevertheless, she wasn't critiqued for that. Instead, she was slapped from top to bottom. Not slapped. What is it when you lick something from top to bottom? Licked? Whatever it is. They ate her up on that runway. RuPaul was the only one. She was the only one who had her jingle brought up, because RuPaul sang her jingle. So remember that. She was the only one. And they told her that she was on brand, her head was cohesive, she got it, she was at ease with her performance, and she knows what she wants with her brand. And she takes pride in who she is. And I'm like, what the fuck are you saying? I understand that you need to push Simone, but the assignment for this challenge was to create an ad with a catchy name that does something to you, that is on brand, that is creative, funny. You have to have a good overall concept, and your runway has to be different and well executed. So I'm thinking, while I'm watching this, where's the note? Here it is. While I'm watching this, I'm thinking, what the fuck does it has to do, the fact that you had fun while filming, Simone? Or the fact that she knows what she wants with her brand? What the fuck does it mean? I mean, Simone did a good job. They could have simply gone for things like, it was funny, it was thought out, we laughed with it, it was a good idea, it worked. You know, they could have said so many things. Instead, we are hit with this load of bullshit that, if anything, is going to make you look at Simone and think, oh, she is full of shit. Because don't forget, people don't even notice the edit. They take all of these things and think of them as attributes of these people. They don't see the edit. They don't see the push. They immediately connect emotional to the people and think, oh, Simone is full of shit. Dear God, it was just so much. But of course we have to go to the runway, because furry Simone left them with their jaw wide open. Because Simone knows who she is. I don't know what kind of fucking critique is this. You know who you are. Yes, it's a runway. It's a dress. There is makeup. What the fuck does it mean that you know who you are? I mean, what is this? What the fuck is this? And then the cherry on top, they told her, compared to Tina, your runway was elevated. Because, you know, every chance is good to take a dump on Tina Burner. And this is the only time that it happens. They really go. And they show Tina as well. It's like compared to Tina Burner. Oh, for fuck's sake. What do we think? 1 second. What do we think of the runway? I liked her runway. I have to kind of agree with the judges that it fit nicely. Oh my God. The problem is, it didn't scream. it didn't scream beast to me. To me, it screamed sex in an elevator at a furry convention. That's how I read her fucking outfit. Oh my god. Let's take a moment. Let's go to the chat. Groover Horner, every episode Tina gets shit when they're talking about someone else. Oh yes, that's constant. That's constant. Goth Boy UK, Simone looked great, but is a cute, cuddly theme. Yes, yes, yes. It didn't scream beast to me at all. At all. It really screamed sex in an elevator at a furry convention. Groover Horner, you're the horny one. You're in the episode, not the queens. It could be that my perception is a little bit skewed. Of course, there are reasons for that, but let's not go into that. Me know something. I'm so ready to talk about Gottmik's brand being sex, farts, and juices. Oh my god. Gothboy UK, I've been in that elevator too many times. Oh, I'm sure you had a wonderful time. You know, time in the elevator is the best time, especially if you are in full fursuit and nobody has to catch you. There is something about it, isn't it? But Simone killed it. That is the message. You know, I don't mind the fact that she won, because by the end of this, she had a double win with Rosé. I liked her commercial, but she wasn't really critiqued, was she? They didn't say anything, any kind of objective criticism to what she did. And most of all, Simone didn't have any difference between the before and after. This was a constant theme for everybody. But since this doesn't really apply to her because she has no before and after, she was told nothing about this. And since Tina had a very good before and after, they said nothing about it either. Because she didn't have to be elevated. She didn't have to be recognized for the things that she did best. Moving on to Gottmik, which is arguably the worst commercial of it all. Gottmik was really, really the worst. Her can is called... where is it? Because I have to write it. I have to write it down. Her can was called Gottmik Got Sex Sex Juice. I mean, what kind of fucking brand is that? Nobody will remember that. It's too long. It's not effective. It's badly done. Her critiques are that there was no separation in the before and after, which is a real critique. I agree with that. It wasn't applied to other people, but... you know, at least this is a real critique. Now they go on and say that the commercial didn't work, that the name was terrible, there was no difference in the before and after, and she was the same person all of the time. And all of this absolutely worked for me. This is probably the only critique I actually agree with, because it looks like she didn't really have an idea, at least from what we see. It looks like she didn't really have an idea of what it was done. Of what she was doing, on how to convey her commercial, because basically, you remember season 5, basically her soda was delusion convince yourself. So she has to bring this, but she didn't really have any kind of separation in the before and after. The name is really, really terrible. The commercial was not funny. You can add as many fart jokes as you want. It doesn't necessarily make it funny. I mean, the only saving grace for Gottmik is the runway. The runway, for me, it was the best one out of all of them. The makeup is absolutely stunning, but of course we knew that she is a great makeup artist. I love the runway that she has, the dress that she has. It screams beast to me. It's really the best runway. And this is the only saving grace. And she is recognized by the judges because of this. So, Gottmik, I don't know. She should have... a lot of people are saying Gottmik should have been in the bottom because of this. If we only look at the commercial, I completely agree with it. But her runway was the best. So that for me positions her in the low range, not in the bottom range. Because the worst one out of all of them, without any doubt, runway included, for me, it was Olivia. Olivia was absolutely the worst of all. And of course, one thing that we have to absolutely say is that she had a more difficult job than everybody else because she doesn't have a brand. Nobody, not even Olivia, knows yet what her brand is. She is still maturing as a queen, so she had a harder job than everybody else. So what is she going to go for? She's going to go for smiling. Her can is called Live, and it will make you smile. That's the commercial. It's already a failure. It's dead on arrival. And her critiques, which mostly I agree with, but they could have hit harder. They say that she always looks happy, and that is a problem because she has no separation in the before and after. Let's talk about the fact that this was also edited. She received directions in this. She didn't receive any direction telling her in the beginning, don't smile in the beginning of the segment, like they told her for the middle segment. So, in a way, she was kind of thrown under the bus. But one of her critique was, there is no separation in the before and after. And I am thinking that this has to do more with the people who directed her than with Olivia herself. Then she didn't sell it. She didn't do a good job. My God, she didn't sell it. Well, it's a can. She has to sell it. Okay, so let's take it literally. She didn't sell it. She didn't do a good job. Her brand felt generic, and that she doesn't know her brand. Hello, it's Olivia. She is young. She's a young queen. Of course, she doesn't have a brand. Who gave her the fucked up idea to go for smiling as her brand? You know what would have really worked for me? For Olivia, because she knows who she is. She knows what she's doing in the race. We saw that segment with Utica when I personally finally realized that independently of the edit, independently of the music, independently of the things that they were cut out, Olivia is smart. Olivia is not stupid, and she knows exactly what she's doing. She is kind of a little bit shady when nobody is noticing. We saw that happening with Utica. So for me, what would have worked 100% with Olivia was a can called Saboteur. You know, with the French pronunciation, Saboteur. The can that will transform you into a piece of shit of a person. You know, you have too much of a boring life. Is being nice making you too stiff? There is no problem. Drink Saboteur and you will immediately transform into a huge piece of shit, able to take a dump on everybody else. I thought it would have been a genius idea if she went for something like this. Unfortunately, she went for this can called Live or whatever it is. And the commercial, one thing that I noticed in the commercial is that it was really not effective and confusing in delivering what was actually the message, because the commercial starts with Olivia talking in the background saying, what does it mean to leave? I gotta find it. So basically her journey that is portrayed in the commercial is finding the meaning of life. And the meaning of life, once you drink Live, is smile, laugh, and forget your problem. It makes no sense. It was not thought out. It was not effective. It was not original. The separation in the before and after absolutely was there, if you ask me, if we take into account the fact that she was probably given fucked up directions. But other than that, it was the worst commercial whatsoever. And the worst sin that she did in this commercial is that it was not funny. This is RuPaul's Drag Race. Everything has to be stupid. This is what we love. This is what we like. Make fun of yourself. That's it. You can be on brand and still make fun of yourself. And you know what? It will also be effective considered the fucked up critiques that they got this episode, which is, oh, you are too much on brand. You need to elevate it. So go for the opposite. I mean, she had a golden opportunity, if you asked me, in this challenge. Too bad that she was not aware enough to actually aware and bold enough to actually embrace the dark side of the Force. But All in all, for me, she was the absolute worst. Her commercial was the absolute worst next to Gottmik. And the runway, I personally didn't like the runway. I can see that a lot of work went into that dress, probably done by somebody else. It's nice, but it's absolutely nothing special. Still not bad as Candy. Candy was absolutely the worst outfit of all. But if we compare Olivia and Gottmik, then, well, Gottmik's runway and makeup was without a doubt so much better than Olivia. So being on the same level, well, on the same bottom level as commercial, Gottmik was definitely better. So Olivia, for me, should have been right in the bottom next to Candy for this episode, because both did a terrible job. And I don't give a shit about the fact that they edited that laughing track. I don't give a shit about the fact that the critiques from Candy were all about, oh, it's fun, it's fun, it's fun. No, I didn't laugh. Nobody laughed. Nobody laughed. Is the bus still running? Stopped being fun already 10 years ago when Shangela made her music video for Working Girl. That when it stopped being funny. It was not funny. It was not on brand. It was not on brand. Everything had so much potential, but you know, different. Then people ask us, why do you like Drag Race UK so much? Why do you have to shit on season 13? I'm not shitting on season 13, but the problem is that season 13 was done by people who didn't absolutely give a shit about the brand, who didn't give a shit about the fan, who didn't give a shit about these queens. It's continuously uninspired. It's continuously taking these queens and moving them around like puppets. And most of them are on board and colluding with it, but some are not. And those some, like Utica and Tina, are having the worst time ever. No matter, doesn't matter what they do, they will be thrown under the bus. And most of all, Utica. You know how I feel about Utica. She is, the moment I know that you make all of your outfits, immediately, I take my hat off, because that's a ton of fucking work. So, let's go to the chat for a moment. Jade says, I think Olivia was parodying those commercials while people are traveling across the country for a chocolate or something. I've seen commercials like hers, so I got the joke, I think. Oh, yes, that can be, but it has to translate. And to me, it didn't translate at all. It was mostly what threw me away from the meaning of it was this intro that she has. What does it mean to find the meaning of life? Whatever it is. And then she drinks this can and she smiles. So it looks like a mishmash of ideas. Either you are depressed and your can makes you smile, or you are looking for the meaning of life, and once you find it, you reach a new level, you go to nirvana. You have a new level of understanding. So for me, it absolutely didn't work. Illustration says, I think Carlson critic Olivia drink on It Makes You Happy, well, so does Sugar. But didn't Simone have a similar theme with her drink? She even mentioned all of the sugar. Yes, he said sugar and vodka. Sugar and vodka. But of course, she is Simone. She is the hero of the season. So you didn't hear anything. You didn't hear anything at all. And finally, let's move on to our last queen, Rosé. Now, I liked Rosé's commercial. To me, it was unoriginal. It looked like immediately when the commercial starts, it looked like a bad ripoff of Alaska's Red for Filth and Jinx Delusion Convince Yourself commercial. It was a blend of the two, but a bad version of the blend of the two. I don't know, she's branding herself as this quirky comedy queen, but to me it's not really working. The only thing that was working was that fucking fantasy robe that she is wearing. That is absolutely genius. That is genius for Rosé. And the runway. I loved the runway. It was the second best. In my opinion, she was absolutely the second best after Gottmik. The makeup was incredible. It was really original. It was not necessarily on brand, so that's okay with the critiques that they decided for this episode. It was really, really good. I loved that. But you know, the commercial was kind of middle of the pack for me. Most of all because I didn't really have fun watching it. But she did hit all of the marks. And the critiques recognize her for this. Why is she recognized by this? Because she has to win, of course. So she gets proper critiques. So what do they tell her? Well, she was funny, she was smart, she showed a playful side, she was a joy to work on set, and I'm thinking, what the fuck are you saying? No, you didn't say anything like this for everyone, for anyone. You are critiquing the commercial, not how much fun you had filming. What the fuck are you saying? Then they said that it was good branding, and I don't know, maybe I kind of agree with that, but I don't know. And they understood what she did. And I'm thinking at that point, yes, the fact that you understand it's also a little bit on you. But yeah, she did a good job. She had a very good before and after. We understood the transition. She did a good job. It just didn't pop out of the screen for me, like the Tina ones, you know, when she's being whipped to drink this fucking thing so that she can transform into a total slut. It wasn't fun in that way for me, but it was good. All in all, it was good. Did she deserve to win? Well, that is debatable, but I'm more inclined to think that yes than no, because it was middle of the pack, but it was on the high side for me. Because you also have to take into account the runway. The runway was absolutely fantastic, and the judges recognized her for this. So I agree on the basic critique that she got for this challenge. The problem is that in all of this, you have two different standards. Because if you need to go home, you will have one standard. If you don't need to go home or win, you will have a totally different standard. So at this point, this race is becoming surreal. It's, you know what's funny? That when you listen to the judges' critique, and think about, what if I would use this same system that you use to judge your entire show and compare it to Drag Race UK? What would I think? What would I think? It's always the same shit over and over and over again. So in order for the producers to have maximum amount of power, we completely lose the creativity of the queens. They are always assigned script, they always have to be aware of the edit, they have to produce themselves, they cannot be spontaneous, they cannot be natural, because if whatever they are doing is taken to the extreme by the edit, nobody at World of Wonder is going to back them up on social media when they get crucified. So what the fuck is going on in all of this? And this season, it is extreme. It is completely extreme. It was still maybe kind of acceptable last season, but this season, they dialed it up to 100. It is so much. It is so much it becomes unbearable. They are destroying this show. These producers are destroying this show. You know, and you might think, because I receive comments saying, oh, but if you hate this show, why don't you stop? I don't hate this show. As a matter of fact, I love this show. What I hate is seeing it being destroyed like this, being transformed into a parody of what it once used to be. That is what I hate. So yes, you're allowed to say that word to define the way I am doing my review of this, but it's not directed to the show. It's directed to the people who are destroying it, because they're being complacent. So that's all of this. That's all I have to say on this. Moving on, after the final main stage, we move to Untucked. Oop, sorry, wait a moment. You can see a little bit of, where is it? My VLC, there we go. Perfect. Moving on to Untucked. And Untucked is all about shilling. Shilling for what, you ask? Well, shilling for the editors, shilling for the producers, shilling for the storylines. Because we're hit with Tina, who is confused by her critiques. And I completely agree. I would be confused as well. The problem is, Tina, you are smart enough to completely understand what's happening. And, you know, you would be expected to go with it. Because nobody is allowed to be real on this show. You have to fake it up and think like, oh yes, the judges told me this and I should have done this. But Tina, basically, she's understanding that she's going home. So she's letting loose, and she was like, what the fuck did they say? I'm always the same. This is my brand. I had to be on brand. And the name of the game in this segment is Collusion, Convince Yourself, because immediately you have the usual four: Simone, Candy Muse, Rosé, and Olivia, all intercepting in favor, in support of the storyline that's been pushed on by the show, because they see what's happening. They are there. They are not stupid. They see which kind of storylines have been pushed, and they are colluding with it, because if they do, they have a better chance of lasting longer, because they are helping in pushing storylines. It's much easier if you have a contestant tell you the storyline instead of having to Frankenstein thing in order to make your point across. So you have Candy telling Tina that she's always mommy dearest. And I'm thinking, I didn't get that. What I got was red, orange, and yellow on the runway. That's what I got. It was not as hard, like, for example, last season, Redacted was always the old woman. And everybody noticed that, because that was clear to everyone. It was there. It was in front of the screen. I didn't get it with Tina at all. Then we go to Rosé, who tells Tina that she is not exploring. She is not exploring enough. She is not being daring enough with her brand. And in that point, I'm thinking, what the fuck is every one of you saying? You all prepared these dresses before you came on this. You all know that all this show is about creating your brand, is about getting known, it's about having catchphrases, it's about people remembering who you are and liking who you are. What does it mean that now, all of a sudden, everybody has to evolve? In the 3 weeks that it takes to film this, they have to evolve as if 10 years passed. Whatever it is. So, but, you know, we've seen Rosé do this kind of things before. Now, this has me conflicted, because on one way I have maximum respect for Rosé, starting from the fact that she was never triggered despite what we saw happening in the first 7 episodes of this show. But on the other side, I'm thinking, it doesn't hurt to be fucking real for a moment. Be fucking real. We got it. You don't like Tina, but you don't have to collude with this bullshit 100%. Take a moment and tell her, listen, Tina, you are completely right, but for somehow tonight they decided to judge on the evolution of your brand. And that's all. And you're being real, you're being honest, you're being helpful, actually helpful to the other person, because Tina would have been left with, okay, so I did great. If she's really doubting herself, she would have been left thinking, okay, I did great, but the point is that the challenge was another one and they didn't understand that. Done. Argument closed. Instead, she is pushing bullshit storylines. And really, this is the harmful part of the show, because you're left with the idea that you have to do all of these things in order to be successful as a drag queen, which is complete bullshit. What Tina is doing is absolutely 100% what you have to be doing, because 3 years from now, all that people will remember for season 13 when they think about the queens and Tina Burner is orange, yellow, and red. That's it. And when they think about Olivia, they will never even remember who she was. Oh, she was the smiling one, wasn't it? What the hell? What the hell? And of course, we have an interception by Olivia, because she is the other one who has been pushing storylines, and we all see it happening. And she is colluding with storylines as well. You know what I don't like about Olivia? The constant smiling. And it's not about the fact that we got to see a more shady side of her. So a lot of people changed their mind. A lot of people don't. No. Don't get it confused. It's not that. It's the fact that if you bring always the same face, it's not about the smiling. It's about the fact that it's always the same face. Then I know for sure that you're holding back, that you're hiding something, which means it's not real. What the hell? You are in a reality TV show competition. Let loose a little bit. Or maybe she did let loose, but the producers and through the editors didn't let us see that, because it's not consistent with their storyline. So we are left with this doubt about Olivia. If I have to judge by the show and the fantasy that goes with it, well, she looks shady. She looks shady. I don't follow her on social media, so I cannot confirm nor deny that. And but anyway, we have this segment during Contact, and suddenly somebody asks, who is the strongest competition? And a lot of people said, oh, it's Candy Muse, including Olivia, because Candy is the most obvious one. They all seen her not knowing the words and be saved from elimination. They all know which kind of game has been played, and Olivia is the first on board. Well, at least we are shown her as the first on board. She's like, oh, Candy is so strong and fierce. And, it boggles my mind, the mental gymnastics that people have to do on the show to praise Candy Muse. If I have to find an honest praise on the top of my mind, is the fact that she is resourceful. This is what Candy Muse tells to me. You can excel even if you don't have incredible makeup abilities, if you don't have a sense of style, if your personality is still evolving, you can still excel if you know how to push your brand. And she's a master at doing that. So you see, it's not difficult to find nice things to tell about Candy Muse. The problem is that they have to push the bullshit narrative things that are told to them, probably by the producers. So she is strong and she is fierce. No, she doesn't look like that. She looks aggressive and ignorant, and it saddens me to say that, but that's exactly how she comes across. That's the message that they want us to see. And the problem is, when you go on social media, that's the same message that you see coming from her. So no, she is not a raw example for me at all. And the last thing that we get shown in Untucked is everybody saying that, or nobody saying that Olivia is a threat in the competition. And then we're hit with a confessional from Olivia saying, oh yes, I won 2 challenges. So, I'm going to win this. And I'm like, no, Olivia. Judging by the edit, you're not going to win anything. As a matter of fact, you have been demoted from the prediction as possible top 4. So, delusion, convince yourself. Then we go back to the main stage for our tops and bottoms. Simone wins, then Rosé wins as well. We're going to talk about it in the speculations, of course, but those are the winners. Gottmik is low, and in the bottom we have Miss Utica and Miss Tina Burner. Now, when we go to the lip sync, I want you to notice 2 things. Number 1 is the song, and I want you to think about the fact that what would have happened is Denali had to lip sync to this song. She would have brought the fucking house down, and there would have been no chance in hell, no matter the edit, no matter the camera angles, that she would have gone on because of that. So they reserved this song for Tina and Utica. I think that both of them did a fantastic job. To me, this was one of the best lip sync of the entire season. Not because Denali's didn't have good enough lip syncs. She was incredible every single time. If taken as a single performance, Denali was absolutely the strongest. But if I have to look at the performance by both queens, this is the best lip sync of the season. They both did an amazing job. They both brought different kind of energy. I was thoroughly surprised with Utica. She was, and let me tell you this, she was selling it. Oh my god, do you see? I'm full of shit as well. She was selling it. She sold it. But seriously, she brought everything that she had. And it was new, it was refreshing, it was stupid. I mean, this was the lip sync that should have had the double Shantae. Out of all of them. It was thoroughly deserved. They both did an incredible job. Of course, none of them belonged in the bottom to begin with, but since you put them there, then, go one step further and make them both stay. But we already used that double Shantae for Candy Muse, the one who is carrying the season, because this season is all about drama. So we need Candy Muse. People are going to hate Candy Muse, my god. my God, they're going to despise it. You know, if you are among one of those people, please channel all of your energy to shit on World of Wonder. They are the one who are allowing and enabling all of this to happen. They are creating the environment for all of this to happen. If you feel any kind of hate or dislike or need to give feedback to any of those queens, please redirect it to World of Wonder, because they are the one who are really fucking it up. Good God. Good God. Okay, before we move on to our final speculation, as usual, our show is lasting a lot longer than it used to do, because I always take 1.5 hours to go through all of this before I get to the speculation. It used to be 1 hour with the speculations. I don't know if maybe it's because I'm interacting more with the chat. That's why it is. That's why it is. Okay, nevertheless, it's been 1.5 hours and I need to smoke a cigarette. I absolutely need to smoke a cigarette, take a pause, get another energy drink, and go to the toilet. So we're going to take 3 minutes. I will leave you with some nice music. Tonight we're going to shake it up. So go smoke, take a pause, grab something to drink, grab something to eat, go to the toilet. You can do all of these 3 things together if you're nasty. And I'll see you back in a moment.
You don't need to be chill. I don't ever play it cool. You don't need the right skills. Don't need the right tools. You just need the guts to seize it. To seize it in the middle. You don't exactly know it, but you know it needs a little breaking up. Shake it up. Shake it up. When things start to settle down. Shake it up. Like it's a snow globe town. The city's like a bottle of sparkling wine. Before I pull it open, let's take some time. Shake it
Okay, and we're back. Let's move on to the final speculation for this season. Now, based on the edit, based on the confessional chart, based on everything that we observed from the beginning of the season, this is our final top 4. As a fashion-forward queen, the young and talented, the usual queen who is between 21 and 24 years old, we have Gottmik. The second one is Simone, portrayed as, the obligatory queen of color who has not to be portrayed as a villain, because, there is such a thing as marketing research and audience research. So these two are the queens that we've been speculating for a long time as the top 4, and my first 2 picks for the top 4. Ahead it is the professional, the queen who doesn't get herself too much about drama, the queen who always brings an element of professionalism to the show. She is always on point, she's always ready. If you need to think about how do you think about the queen, the prototype for the professional, think about Chad Michaels, because she was the very first queen who was portrayed with that specific role. Then we have Candy Muse as the obligatory big girl, because we always have one. With her headed is the redempted villain. It was carried out it was awful. It was really badly done. The editors and the producers did a terrible job with Candy Muse. It's not that she doesn't have redemption quality, but the story being told, it was told in an awful way. It was not effective. It was not convincing. It was a shit show. Nevertheless, she is the redempted villain for the season and the third queen in the top 4. The fourth queen, finally, as the campy and fashionable one, is going to be Rosé. As you know, we had a doubt if it was going to be Rosé or it was going to be Olivia. But since Olivia has been thoroughly thrown under the bus this episode and Rosé was elevated once more, Rosé is our final pick for the top 4. Don't forget that now her track record is better than Olivia, and playing to her possibility of being in the top 4, there is the fact that she's been time traveling throughout the whole season. What did happen with Rosé? I think that at some point they decided and they think, okay, Rosé, we're not going to trigger her, but she is our pick for the top 4. So you know what? Rosé, please come back and film all this bunch of confessionals referring to every single episode as if you are narrating, as if you are pushing all the storylines that we have for this show. So you have to say this, 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 and this. And there you have it. Spiky hair, Rosé, with her temporal incursion in each and every episode. Seriously, this season as being the longest season we have ever had, and Rosé is like in 80% of the episode coming from the same confessionals with the same hairstyle. It's unbelievable. So this for us is the top 4 this season. With that said, 6 queens are left. We are left with Utica and Olivia. Who is going home? I think that without a doubt Utica is going to go home before Olivia, because at this point she has a much worse track record. Her headed went downhill since the last 6 episodes, so I think that Utica is definitely going home next episode. But she didn't have any kind of mirror humanizing moments before the runway, so I'm going to predict also that she will have a humanizing moment in front of the mirror before the runway in the next episode, because she has to go home and she has to have her moment. Possibly even a message in Untucked. After that, Olivia is our next pick to go home. Now, since we're left with the 6th queen, can we also predict who is going to lip sync against Utica and send her home? Now, Candy Muse is not able to send anybody's home during a lip sync. Not because she doesn't bring great energy, because she does, but she never knows the fucking words. She never knows the words. In her last lip sync, they were forced to even transport her in time so that she could appear like she was lip syncing the damn song. Remember when she had her how is it called, the thing around the neck. Help me, chat. please help me. I'm losing words. No, not color. What the fuck? How the fuck is it called? Oh my god. Okay, oh my god. The choker? Is it called the choker? Oh my, no, it's not called the choker. It's called, oh good god. Good god tonight. Let's see if we can... I like that Google Translate is coming to me saying that I'm speaking Filipino for some reason. Her necklace. Good God, her necklace. Yes, thank you guys. During the last lip sync, we saw Candy breaking her necklace, then it magically reappeared moments after. If you remember that. It was a shit show. So I don't think Candy Muse is going to be the one who lip syncs against Olivia. Now, Gottmik cannot really lip sync. We saw that in the first episode, and they better never put Gottmik in the bottom because she will go home. Great makeup artist, terrible lip syncer. Nothing against you, Gottmik. I'll talk about Gottmik in a moment, but it's not going to be Gottmik. So it's either going to be Olivia, Simone, or Rosé. The problem with Simone is that she's been in the bottom already, and you don't put your hero twice in the bottom because it's going to be a bad look. By this point, she has 4 wins. I don't think she's going to be lip syncing anymore. So it's either going to be Olivia or Rosé. Now, I don't remember in the preview at the end of the episode what was the next episode all about. What is it? Let me see. Let me bring up the episode for a moment so that I can check it and I can tell you exactly what I think about it. Because I forgot. Completely forgot. Where is it? Here it is. Oh, it's going to be a reading challenge. A reading challenge. The queens are going to read other queens. Now, who is the worst in reading between Rosé and Olivia? I would say Olivia. I would say definitely Olivia. And they're going to take full advantage of that. Now, wait a moment because YouTube is telling me that they are not receiving my stream. Damn. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain a smooth streaming. Viewers will experience buffering. My God, tonight YouTube is being awful to work with. It's been awful to work with. I was even locked out of the account for a moment. Wait a second, guys. It could be that I have to restart the stream. Wait a second. Poor connection. Can you guys follow me? Can you hear me clearly? Are you experiencing any kind of buffering, any kind of problems with the stream? Streaming fine for me? Okay. Alethea, today YouTube buffered a ton. Okay, it went away. Okay, it went away. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry for the problems, but you know, if we have connection problems, it's connection problems. I'm trying my best to keep this as smooth as I can. So, based on the fact that it's going to be a reading challenge, and hands down, Rosé is much better at reading and much better at acting than Olivia. Don't forget, Olivia is all about physical comedy. She is terrible in acting. Nothing against Olivia. I'm terrible in acting as well. So I would definitely say that they're going to jump on the opportunity to bring Olivia's edit a little bit more down because she had 2 wins in a row. So the prediction for next episode is Utica going home, lip syncing against Olivia. And next episode we're going to see who Olivia is going probably to lip sync against. With that said, out of all of this 4, I am left with the only queen that I can stand for, which is Gottmik. It's not that I don't like Simone, but to me, she's being one note throughout the whole season. I don't like the hero headed. It's not entertaining. I don't like when queens are pushed so much. She was never read once for the fact that she never brought any kind of versatility. I mean, we are still in the fantasy that this is a competition, and you also have queens who have been thrown under the bus because they're not versatile enough. I see no kind of versatility from Simone whatsoever. She is stunning on the runway, but it ends there. She is great in acting, but then it ends there. The only time that we got Simone actually build something for herself during the suing challenge, it was a shit show. So, and she is colluding with the storylines for the season a little bit too much for my taste. Candy Muse, well, Candy was not ready for Drag Race. I wish she would have waited a couple of years because I'm not enjoying what she's bringing whatsoever. She is bringing delusion, which is fun if you look at the show from that kind of perspective, but I don't. I want to be entertained. I want to be sold on the fantasy. I want to be completely drawn in for 1 hour, and Candy is not doing it for me. And Rosé, yeah, she's a good queen, but to me, she's kind of middle of the pack in everything that she does. Fashion is good, but it's nothing exceptional. Acting is good, but it's really nothing exceptional when we look back at queens like Jinx Monsoon, when we look back at queens like Ben de la Creme. She is not on that level. I think that already Tina Burner, when it comes to acting, she is so much better. But she's middle of the pack in there as well. She's just a good singer. The problem is that if that is the only thing in which she absolutely excels, there is nothing about singing in this kind of show. Everything is auto-tuned. She sings from time to time to make her point across, to have a little bit of fun with it, but it never really comes across. She doesn't pop out of the screen the same way that they let Adore Delano do, for example, as a singer. And she as well, she's colluding with the edit a little bit too much. I didn't appreciate at all when they ganged on Utica on things that made absolutely no sense, bringing out things that happen outside of filming, misconstruing what is happening. It was a little bit too much for me. I understand which kind of game has been played here, but we're still in a fantasy that we're going to see something resembling reality, and you're editing yourself a little bit too much for my taste. So I am left with no one to stand but Gottmik, because to me she's the only one left in there of the four of them who is really trying to bring an element of reality, who is really trying not to edit herself too much, who is having fun in this experience that is Drag Race, and not being constantly thinking about, oh my god, the edit, oh my god, my brand, oh my god, I have to make my money back, mostly because she had an incredible career to begin with. So she is more loose. She had a good drink of the sweet tooth, the drink that makes you lose. And for me, she is the only one at this point that I'm hoping will win, because none of anybody else is not doing it for me at all. Now that we are done with the speculations and everything else, let's move on to our Kiki time. Let's move on to our usual talk, your questions, your comments, and what the hell is going on with Tamisha Iman, because I completely lost what was happening. So let me go to the Reddit and see what the fuck is going on with Tamisha. It's unacceptable that people disrespect her, by the way. Okay, here we are. Tamisha gets on live and goes off about Drag Race and her experience from dealing with it. It's long but interesting. Is this the thread that you were guys mentioning at the beginning of the stream? Is this what we were talking about? Let me have a drink. Okay, so there is a little bit of well, somebody made a TLDR on what this topic is saying. So she said that she will not post her looks because if the production wanted her to see the looks, they would have kept her longer. Grover Hornell, read the first post. Yes, I'm reading it. It's just arriving a little bit later because we have a little bit of buffering. Production took photos of all of their looks before the competition started. She feels like they used this information to help plan how the show would go. Oh, of course they did. Of course they did. She said they will probably go on live the minute her NDA expires to say everything that she wants us to say. So the NDA actually expires. That's funny because when we read the contract for season 8, the NDA was for the rest of their life. So that might have changed. That's really surprising to know that there is an expiring date on the NDA. Then it goes on. The more she watches the season, the more she feels it was not a fair competition. She said it was hard to watch Denali go home last week. Well, yes. Listen, Drag Race, it's almost never being about being a fair competition. We all know that. We all learn to live with that. Because it was still an entertaining show. It was still a show that pushed boundaries. It was a show that brought drag, which is an art that we love, to the big mainstream audiences. So as long as it feels like a competition, we were all fine with that because it's still television. We know what the deal is. The problem is when it stops even feeling like a fair competition, then you committed the ultimate sin. It's not working anymore. Beatrice says, Tamisha said it will expire in 1 year. I will contact her and send her if she would like in 1 year to come and do an interview with us. I don't think, queens don't usually want to have anything to do with us because you know what we do on this channel. We call out World of Wonder over and over and over and over again, and it's not something that you want to be associated with if you want to be in good terms with the biggest company when it comes to drag entertainment. It's not just about the NDA, it's about being shown and get free publicity over and over and over again, get a show on World of Wonder, being invited as a guest of the shows of World of Wonder, like the fashion photo review, like the pit stop and whatever it is. So they all want to be in good terms with the production, not to mention coming back for All Stars. So based on that, we will never have any queens on this channel. But I will try anyway, because we talk about these kind of things. We talk about the contract. We talk about what's going on behind the reality. So it would be a match made in heaven. We will see what happens about that. Now, the comment goes on and said that she didn't want to comment on Candy Muse, Simone, Gottmik, Tina, and Lala Ree. She said they were amazing, but implied that she didn't get a good impression of their personality because of how the teams were split. I don't think it was just about the teams. I think, I have to see the video, but from the vibe that I got from Tamisha is not about how the teams were split. It's about the fact that many queens were producing themselves. They were very well aware of what was going on and what was asked implicitly from the production. Then the comment goes on, she is not rooting for anyone left in the competition, but would have rooted for Kimora, Denali, and Joey if they made it to the finals. Kimora is her favorite and adopted her because she thinks she will do well in pageants. Yes, Kimora is absolutely beautiful. She is stunning. She said that Olivia is genuinely nice to everyone and that Rosé is perfect for Drag Race. Yeah, with Olivia, we were all drawn on Bird. Yes, on Bird. The bird is the word. What the hell? She said that Olivia is genuinely nice, and we were all kind of on board with the fact that she was secretly shady. It might be that my objectivity has been compromised. If Mama Tamisha comes out saying that she is nice outside of Drag Race, I'm going to take my perception and throw it down the drain. Because everything that person says is law to me. So you are watching this channel, you acknowledge that. So we're going to eat whatever we said about Olivia and swallow it. And swallow it with a little bit of energy drink. from Lidl, 25 cents. Coffee. Bird, bird, bird. The bird is a word. Absolutely. The bird is always the bird. The word. Surfing bird. Then she goes on. Nobody knew about her osteotomy bag until after her elimination, not even the producers. That's called being stoic, which is something that I absolutely appreciate from her. And then she continues, there's a double standard in judging because with someone like Tamisha, she is seasoned and the judges already knew her reputation and want to see her do it. With newer queens, it's more like, I wonder what she can do. I don't necessarily agree with this, mostly because we had years and years and years of knowledge of Drag Race, editing in Drag Race, and the kind of show that they're trying to produce, and why. So I don't think it's about being seasoned. It's about the kind of storylines that they want to push. So if you are a new queen and they want to push you, they will be all about, I wonder what she can do. I wonder how she can evolve. I wonder what she can bring to the competition. If you're a seasoned queen and they want to push you, they will all be about how much surprised they are, the kind of evolution that she is doing, the way she is surprising everyone. Remember, Bianca Del Rio, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Nevertheless, that was her edit for that season. And she was a seasoned queen. She was a well-known queen. Well, at the time, I don't think she was at the same level of Tamisha. But nevertheless, she got that kind of edit. So I don't necessarily agree with that. The comment continues. The fight with Candy got so real that she forgot about the cameras. She doesn't have a problem with Candy and doesn't blame Candy for the judges favoring her, which is really mature of her, but of course it was expected. That's why she's a queen. Tamisha doesn't think that the judging makes sense. That's why we have a new section on this show called The Cryptiques, which is going to be the most iconic part of this show already, because we are going to do it every single fucking time. It was like, it's like when we have the speculations, you know? Everyone knows that if you come to this show, you're going to see a review of the edit, you're going to see the speculations, and now you're going to see the cryptiques. She's absolutely right. All of this, to me, it starts to even be funny to see the judges literally do the mental gymnastic to try to push the storylines that they've been told need to be pushed. Then she continues, Denali is amazing, and she could see Denali was tired from trying to be recognized when the judges had their eyes on other girls. Oh yes, we speculated on the fact that they tried to trigger Denali as much as they could, that she wasn't really recognized for her talent. She was passed on every single time, being safe when she should have been high, being high when she should have won. So I saw this, we all saw this, and I absolutely agree with that. She talked about her virtual drag contest, and she thinks there are a lot of damaged people in the community that unfortunately have to bring in negativity. I understand the spirit of this comment. I don't like the wording. I don't know if this was the original wording of that goddess called Tamisha Iman, or the wording that this user decided to use in order to summarize what she said. I don't believe in bringing the negative versus positive kind of instrument to filter the way you look at the word. It's not about being negative or positive. It's about the final goal that you have. Either you want to bring someone down or you want to uplift someone. And I like to think that when we do this show, when I come on Livestream, we seem to be continuously negative, but that's not the final goal that we have. We want to bring awareness of the edit. We want to free people from the burden of being too much emotionally invested to the show, to the point where they need to go online and give the queens a piece of their mind, even if it's an honest feedback. But when it hits you from thousands of other people, it really starts bringing you down. So if you look at the world in the way negative versus positive, we as well would appear as a shit show, because we would appear as the ones who bring in negativity, and that's not the point. So I don't appreciate this wording, and I hope it comes from this person. But maybe Tamisha used this kind of device to just got her message across, but it's not that simple. And if you think that you can view the world in such a simple perspective, then you're losing a ton of things. Which at the end of the day, it's all on you, because you will miss the opportunity to get a ton of new information, learn a ton of new things, and ultimately bring them in and grow as a person, no matter what you want to do. Fantasia said, you should call in. Yeah, it would cost me a fortune to call in from Europe. I would love to call in, but the point is, I don't want to risk embarrassing her, because even though I try to be, it's not that I try to be, it makes it easier for me to just come natural. And if I say some bullshit or whatever it is, just acknowledge it, learn from it, move forward. It also brings a good example that people can actually learn from. It's easy to go outside and say, don't be negative. Yeah, but show me the competence, show me somebody fucking it up, and how you go on from it. So, and it also makes it easier because it makes me come natural. The problem is, if I call in and then I start asking things like, Tamisha, how long does the NDA go on? Or did you have, it feels like let the viewers have it. Let everybody else have it. If it will ever come a time when I will be blessed with a conversation with this goddess, at least we will have the proper time and the proper privacy to have a conversation, an honest and open conversation. So I won't come back. I will just come there. When I am there, I will try to remember to push to give a little bit of shilling for her show. I love the commercials. I absolutely love them. Coffee is always there. It's always, I see her everywhere. And it's so funny because, we go to the comment section and I'm like, hey, Coffee, I'm here. Hey, how are you? Oh my God. Chat, TikTok Meltdown says, I have a question. What job would you do if you weren't paid? I don't understand the question. Are you asking me what job would I do, accepting the fact that I would never be paid for doing it, even though it's a job? Is that what you're asking me? And while my voice is taking its time to reach you, I will have a little bit of a drink. Okay, yes. Okay. It would be a review of the edit of RuPaul's Drag Race called The Chop on YouTube. Because as you know, after taxes, after expenses, whatever we do, if we have to only talk about this show, we are going under. Thankfully, we have other videos that bring a little bit more cash. No, Lena goes on. I think they mean, what would you do if you didn't have to worry about the money? I would open a repair shop. I would like to have people come in with their electronics, with their broken things, and repair for them for free. Because most of the appliances that you get for your home are basically made to break by themselves after 2-3 years. And as you know, I'm not a crazy environmentalist, but I do believe in trying to reduce and reuse and recycle as much as possible. It's also one of the reasons why I'm also going so hard on all the fracking thing and so on. I'm not crazy about it. I don't go through extreme length. I also have a ton of fun repairing things. I like trying to understand what is the problem, where it's coming from, troubleshooting, finding ways to fix based on the instruments that I have. I would open a big shop and really invite people and say, bring me your broken stuff and I will fix it for you. And I would have a ton of fun doing it. As a matter of fact, I also wanted to volunteer for an association for doing it for free. You know, it's bringing awareness and teaching people how to repair your own stuff. The problem is we are in lockdown, so it's not happening for a year. But yes, I would love to do that. It would bring me infinite joy. It would bring me infinite joy. But of course, I would like to continue doing my job as well, because that brings me joy as well. As a matter of fact, it keeps me sane in my mind. Fantasia, I think you should totally call in. She would be waiting for people to have opinions about the show. I don't know, Fantasia. I really don't know. I don't know. You know what the problem would be? For the kind of person that I am, and you've seen it with this show, you've seen it in the Discord, you've seen it in the way I make my comments. I take my time to make my point. It's not always a straightforward point, but it takes time. And I think that something like this would really bring down the mood in a way. You know, her show is really different than mine. It's very, very funny. It's lighthearted. It never takes itself too seriously. I don't know. I don't know if it's like I feel so much respect for this person that I never meet that I don't want to run the risk to be inappropriate in some way. So I don't know, but I will be definitely sending that email. Definitely, I will try. And I will also try not to intrude, because to me it would feel like an intrusion, you know. We live in a world where everybody has something to say about everything, where everybody feels entitled to put their 2 cents in a conversation, and all of these things is true. But I would like to bring this message across, that sometimes if we all speak our opinions and thoughts that we are entitled to, then most of the time the ones that we should really listen to get lost in the chaos. So there is a need in society for people that stop for a moment and think, I can just sit this one out. I can just shut up and leave space for other people to be heard. So I don't know. Jade said, I agree. Me and my partner tried to fix our dryer only to find out that the part to replace the motor was more expensive than buying a new dryer. Oh, yes, I know. Motors are a pain in the ass because nobody is going to rewind them, and they are usually more expensive to buy. But nice try. Nice try. Kylustration said, in your opinion, which season could be pinpointed as the one where the toxicity of the fandom took over or went overboard? I recently thought about it and couldn't come to a conclusion. I agree with you with the fact that it's difficult to come to a conclusion because it didn't happen all at once. It was something that has been brewing since the show started to become mainstream. For me, it all started as the very, very beginning of this. It started in season 4 with what happened with Fifi O'Hara. Fifi was reality television gold. It was also a time where social media was not such an integral part of the Drag Race experience, so queens were a little bit more loose. But that, for me, is the moment in which it solidified that a villain in the show brings in the audience. That was the very first example. And from that on, we saw this recurring theme coming over and over and over again. We had Roxy Andrews in season 5. We had Courtney Act thrown down the bus in season 6 because they didn't really have a villain. Darian Lake thrown down the bus in season 6 because they didn't really have a villain, where they tried to push a storyline because they knew that villains bring in audience, bring in buzz, bring in publicity, brings at the end of the day money. So it started for me in season 4, and it slowly crept up until we finally arrived at season 9 on VH1, where the show went completely mainstream, and so audiences on social media had their eyes on the show. For me, it really all started on social media the moment the show went mainstream, so from season 9, and it was all completely downhill from then on. So I hope that answers your question. TikTok Meltdown said, what queen from RuPaul's Drag Race would you switch places with? The one who has the most money. Because money equals freedom in my mind. It's freedom to do whatever you want to do. So I know it's a fucked up answer, but it's a genuine answer. If I get to maintain my personality, the way I am, the things that I know, the place where I live, then yes. If we're talking about switching personality, then none of them, because I am me. I love the way I am. It took me a ton of effort to grow and build me up and build my knowledge. So no, I will keep myself always. Dixie, I agree with Matt. Calling may not come across well. Yeah. TikTok says Jujubee or Manila? Jujubee, absolutely Jujubee forever. She's my Asian goddess, and there will never be another Jujubee. Marlon says, about Gottmik, a queen lip-syncing Pearly in the first episode and then the production keeping her out of the bottom two. Can we call this the Gigi Good treatment? Not really, because with Gigi Good it was an extreme example of the hero edit, which is more similar to what's happening to Simone. Nevertheless, I agree with you that they are a little bit skewed with Gottmik. They are trying to save her from the bottom as much as possible. Because she cannot really lip sync, and there is only so much rigory that we can take during the lip sync before people will start to just tune out. I mean, I don't know how many of the actual viewers noticed that the editing was doing its best to cover up the fact that Candy didn't know the words both times. So they are there, they see the whole lip sync, they know what's happening, they know how much they can push it. And I don't think they will ever push it with Gottmik. It's just too much of a risk. Lena Clark asks, if you could pick an iconic gay vacation destination, Fire Islands, Provincetown, to visit, what would it be? I think it would be San Francisco during the Folsom Street Fair. Is it too much of an honest answer? Maybe I'll get to meet Rock and Sakura. Jules, you are a true diamond in the rough. Thank you, Jules. Don't stroke my ego too much. You know what happens. Much that I had to learn is that you are nothing special. Stay down. You're a reasonable person. You sometimes have insightful things to say, but you are not an outlier. So stay down, stay calm. So I try to remind me that, because it doesn't come to me naturally, So thank you for the compliment. Let's keep it at that. Not too much. It's a difficult job to contain the ego. Gothboy UK, you're my kind of guy. Folsom in Berlin is better though. Let's not start talking why is it better. I didn't know that Folsom was an international thing. I thought it was kind of a city or a neighborhood or whatever. So let's not go into detail. We still want to bring the G-rated version of this stream as much as we can. So, but I got your point. Mark Goldby said, what gay animal are you? A bear, a cub, an otter, etc. I used to be a chaser before I became a bear. So I'm currently in my, bearish, cubbish, whatever it is. You know the drill. Alicia, I had my threesome at CAD in Hamburg. That was fun. Guys, calm down. Calm down. YouTube will bring it down if we keep talking about these things in the comment. It happened. It happened to people. So let's keep it, friendly, if you know what I mean. Let's stay friendly. TikTok meltdown. Wait, who is a queen that has comedy and beauty? Well, for me, the first and the prototype of this was Manila Luzon, without any doubt. She was the very first queen to ever be on Drag Race to bring that element, that fashion element, and the campiness. She was a campy fashion queen, and we didn't get much of those. Rosé is kind of, to me, it's kind of a prototype as the same character as it was Manila Luzon for season 3, but not as effective as Manila, because let's not forget, Manila made her own outfits back in season 3. Rosé probably bought all of them. So I wouldn't go as far as call it fashion forward, because once you have the money, it's not difficult to hire a stylist and have someone make the dress for you. So for me, that it will always be a spot reserved for Manila Luzon, without a doubt. Blazing Bart, how do you feel about the UK winner, y'all? I think it's arguable that Bimini had it more in the bag, deserved it more. I wanted Lawrence to win, but I will not have that cloud my judgment, because Bimini in general did a better job for me. She deserved it more. But then again, let's not forget season 1 of Drag Race UK, because the Vivienne really... I mean, she is not bad, but she is no comparison to Divina at all. Divina is iconic. Divina is unforgettable. Divina has a personality. Divina has experience. I had the feeling from the Vivienne that she still had to evolve, not only in her brand, but also in her drag persona. She looked a little bit too stiff to me. So it's becoming kind of, the usual for Drag Race UK to have the outlier of the season in second place, which for me was Bimini, without a doubt. TikTok meltdown. Favorite lip sync for your life? For me, it will always be Shut Up and Drive with Tatiana and Alyssa Edwards. It was the best lip sync of all time for me. It was great from the both of them, which is something rare. You usually see a queen being, if you see a queen that's really bringing it, then the other is usually not bringing it as much, or doing a bad job, or not really embodying the song. But that for me was a great example of two queens who absolutely brought everything to it, and the song played to their strength. It was one of the lip sync. I think it's the lip sync I've rewatched the most. If we account for the fact that it came so much later on the show, because of course we had like 9 seasons of lip syncs before that. So in 9 years, and you rewatch, you go to the raw numbers, and it's not the most rewatched one for me, but in proportion it is. For me, it's absolutely the best. Like absolutely the best. Nightmare Trubator says the editing did not make any favor to Bimini this last episode, but Lawrence is great personality and a talented queen, and she will do very well. I agree with it, but I also like to believe that people are starting to get able to go a little bit beyond the edit. Also it helps the fact that it looks like the contract for Drag Race UK is a little bit more loose, because Bimini released an interview in which she talked about the fact that the editors tried to tell her to be a little bit more shady, to be a little bit more confrontational, to not always be there to bring people together and so on. So it's an excellent article, and I think there is a link on the Discord for that, because a lot of people are bringing a ton of additional content with great insight on the Discord, including Beatrice, who managed to find the guidelines for the way the queens are portrayed on the BBC, it's going to be part of a video that will come out. I hope soon, guys. You know how it's going. I'm always late. I had a video in the brewing for the past 3 months. But it will be part of the video, including the talk about the commercials and how VH1 is relating to World of Wonder based on the kind of audience that they want to gain. That will all be material for the same video. So we'll see about that when I manage to finally sit for a moment and give it time. Joel says, so Bimini and Davina were the best but lost, which often happens, but they'll probably do better. Bag of Chips is doing exceptionally well. I don't enjoy Bag of Chips. I don't want to say I don't like it, because in the mind of people it gets translated as you actively dislike it, you hate it. You don't know. It's none of that. It's just that I don't enjoy her. That's it. It's flatlining for me. I prefer Davina. She always have that quirkiness, and she's stunning on the runway in a way that the Vivian is not for me. For example, might be because of the fake teeth. I hate fake teeth. Keep them crooked. They are real. I will appreciate them more. Joel says, Chichi Devane singing "I'm Telling You" by Jennifer Holiday lives in my heart forever. Yeah, that was a great interpretation. But then again, it's best lip sync overall. So, let's not forget about Chi-Chi. By the way, back in the day, I don't remember World of Wonder going out of their way to help her raising money, because you knew that she was in the hospital. You know that she had a long-term illness. She's been living with it. She had been living with it for a long time. So, well, whatever. Groover Orna said, where can I find the guidelines in the Discord server? It was a link posted by Beatrice. So if you wait a moment, I can go in the Discord. I think it was in the Drag Race UK Season 2 section of the subreddit, because don't forget that our president, Fantasia, created a ton of different sections so that we can organize things a little bit better. So props to her. I think it was on the UK Season 2. You just have to scroll up a little bit. Or I can use the search bar. BBC. The most talked about moments. No. Beatrice, there we go. Message could not be loaded. What are you telling me? There we go. And here is the link. 1 second, I will paste it here for you. Use the search bar on the Discord if you want to find this kind of information, or if you come a little bit late to the party and you don't know it. But, we are a group of welcoming people, so just ask, because somebody will definitely ask it. So here is the link. And there you go. I'm always happy to provide you first-hand information if I can. It's good that you trust me, but always trust the source more. That's the motto for it. Let's have a little bit of it. Oh my god, I'm out of energy drinks. I'm out of energy drinks. Officially. We're going to go with water. What can you do? It's better than nothing. Gothboy UK, be careful when you're searching for BBC. I searched for BBC in the subreddit, so we are classier than that. Blake Robinson, my mom just had twins, and I always loved Chi-Chi's boy's name, so I suggested her, without telling her, to name her Xavian. To name one Xavian. That's really nice. That's really nice. That's a nice name. Carrie Mack, do you have vodka? I don't drink on stream. You have no idea what goes on the deep levels of my mind, because you see me like reasonable, composed, out for a laugh, and so on. But all of this finally emerged once that madness that goes on in my mind, every little part, at their opinion heard. So if you take things out of context, you can basically portray me however you want. So no, that's not for the stream. That's for real life. Real life is one thing. Stream is another thing. Jojo, which subreddit is this you speak? It's not a subreddit. It's a Discord server, and there is a link in the description. So if you'd like, you're welcome to join from there. It's not on Reddit. It's not on Reddit, it's Discord. Also because Discord has much more functionality. Right now, Fantasia is bringing a ton of bots that do a ton of amazing things. You can play music. It has just so many more functionality. It's much better than a subreddit. It's much better than a subreddit. TikTok Meltdown. If you could eat anything, what would you eat? I want ramen. Right now, I'm sorry. I know it's it's a stupid answer, but at this moment, I would like McDonald's trash food because it's easy, it tastes good, it's fast, it's whatever it is. If the thing would magically appear in front of me, then I would have to go for lobster, which is something that I cannot afford. So I would love a nice lobster with green sauce. Oh, yes, that would fit so well. Iris Inspiration asks, did you see what Tamisha posted on Instagram? If you're referring to everything that went on with her talking about the editing on Drag Race and all of that, she made a YouTube video, and I just found out, so I read about it in the RuPaul's Drag RPDR drama subreddit on Reddit, because there is someone that summarized everything in one comment. So I will watch the video when I have time, probably in a couple of days, so that I get up to speed. But yes. Moving on, wherever. Fantasia, even your water sounds good. It's sparkling water. It's just sparkling water. Dixie, someone quick get some energy drinks to our host. He may start stroking. I may start falling asleep. I'm still upbeat. I can still go on for a good hour. Don't worry. I still have this stuff brewing, going on in my body. So, TikTok Meltdown. Did you guys know that Jujubee was actually drunk when lip-syncing to Black Velvet? That was the best part of it. I think that she really brought a soul to the song, and most of that, of course, it's thanks to her ability. She's an incredible lip-syncer, arguably the best in the history of the show, but the drunkenness brought in that final cherry on top to me. Alethea, yes, that made it more real. Absolutely made it more real. Moving on. What do we have? Grover Orna, McDonald's is the best at night. Yes, especially in the middle of the night, if you manage to find one open. Because I have to go a long way. I remember when we did the chop for season 12, I was so hungry at some point that I finished the stream. I took the car. I drove like 6 kilometers to get a McDonald's that was actually opened, and at McDonald's, like at 4 in the morning. Coffee, I'm literally getting McDonald's and dreaming of lobster. Oh, I love lobster. I had it once like 10 years ago. It was an incredible experience. I'm sorry for the lobster, but it was an incredible experience. Blake Robinson, it kind of breaks my heart that Bimini didn't win. I watched the Queens react to the crowning thing, and they looked like they wanted it so bad. But good for Lawrence. Damn, they looked so ready to win. Yeah, but you know, winning is not everything at all in this competition. As a matter of fact, you have to win us, not the competition. That's how you ensure that you will have a profitable career and you can live doing drag. Because let's not forget, when you start doing drag, it's like starting a YouTube channel. You do it without getting paid for it for a long time. And then if it finally takes off, you get to earn a living from it. And that is the final point. I have no doubt that Bimini will get to live and live well from her drag artistry. And that is what really matters at the end of the day. And the same is true for Denali. So don't worry about that. Of course, it's you know, it's something more, but don't forget, if they will ever have an All-Stars for Drag Race UK, we will get to see Bimini again, which is more than the winning queens can say. So it's not bad. It's really not bad. Fantasia says Drag Race UK is sponsored by McDonald's and Heinz because they definitely mention them freely. Well, they have very strict rules in England. They cannot do this sort of things, so I think they were kind of slip-ups. They cannot take money from sponsors without it being disclosed. You know, they have to be, you know, to go like and say, okay, this was sponsored by. They cannot insert sneakingly things. So one thing is having Joe Black saying this dress is from H&M, which is a statement of fact. And another thing is slipping things on to give like this subtext of publicity and shilling for different brands. Grover Orna says, Tamisha posted in her story a fake fan that was complaining that she didn't post her looks and that she looked boring. I can post it in the Discord so you can see it if you want. Thank you so much. You can even post it here in the chat. And, oh no, I cannot approve comments in the chat because YouTube doesn't make me do it. I have to manually add the link for your username in the channel as an approved user, which it's going to take like 3 minutes. Finding a comment, finding a link, adding it in, then you have to go one by one. Post it in the Discord. Post it in the Discord, so also everyone will get to see it. And if you post it in the Discord, I will repost it here in the chat so that everybody has it and you can go watch it. Iris Inspiration, where are you from? We are from Europe. We prefer not to disclose where we're really from and keep our, you know, keep as anonymous as possible because we already had examples, more and more example of people coming from YouTubers' real life and real job because they simply didn't like what they had to say. So I don't hide behind anonymity. I don't get crazy thinking that, oh, I am anonymous, I can be a shit of a person online. I just like to keep the two things separate because you never know. At the end of the day, we have to pay rent and we have to eat. So if that means bringing a degree of separation between me and you guys, then that's how it has to be. Wait a moment, the chat skipped again. Yay! Jules, losing is the new winning. You mean look at American Idol and the singing competition or Britain's Got Talent. Yeah, they finally realized that it doesn't matter if you win or not win. What it really matters is that you win us. You know, when their contract expires, and they probably, because, you know, in all of these contracts, they have an exclusivity period, which means you cannot do anything unless basically you paid whoever put you under contract. That's the same reason why we didn't have the Hey Pork Chop in one of the finale. I thought it was in the finale for season 10, if I'm not mistaken, because she did another reality TV show and she was under exclusivity period, and probably they didn't want to pay. So when that is finished, at the end of the day, you still have to have a career. You still have to have earn money for yourself. So if you manage to win the audience, then it doesn't really mean anything if you won the competition or not, because you won in real life. That's the most important part. Goth by UK says there's supposed to be an international drag race coming up. I can't remember who said it or but we are up for it. Absolutely up for it. Absolutely. Jules, where is it? Damn. Jules, there you are. Taste was sent Heinz brand beans with her name on it. She was also sent a Taste bottle of ketchup. That's cool sponsorship. That's curious. That's curious for sure. Groover, I posted it in the gossip chat. Let's go to the gossip. There we go. You posted an image, not a link. Damn. Oh, there was sorry. There was a link from Beatrice. It was posted yesterday. There we go. And link is in the chat. There you go, guys. Goth by UK, I meant an international All-Stars. Blue Hydrangea and Baga have been named, but the source is a scummy UK newspaper, so take it as with a grain of salt. Yeah, it will happen. At some point it will definitely happen, because let's not forget, all of these shows that are popping around, they are part of the franchise. I'm not talking only about Drag Race UK or Drag Race Australia, where we get to actually see the judges from Drag Race US. I'm also talking about the ones who are actual spin-off of RuPaul's Drag Race without the judges that we come to know and love. That gets an idea. They're still paying Drag Race for the format, for the franchise. So it includes all of them. I think that at some point, when all of this show get to have a couple of seasons, I will think that they will definitely do a Drag Race International. I mean, they are coming out with a mobile game about Drag Race produced by World of Wonder. So they are definitely trying to expand as much as they can. So to me, it will happen. It's only a matter of fact of when the times will be mature for an international All-Stars. Will Drag Race still be relevant as it is today? Because if they continue destroying the brand the way that they are doing it, I'm starting to become a little bit dubious about that. You can't link. Sorry. I forgot to read the fact that I was reading a comment. Grua Orna, not. No, but the link was the stream. The photo was a picture from a story. You can't link Instagram stories. Then what the hell is this link about that I just posted? Wait a moment. Let me open it up. Oh, yes, it is the link for the Instagram story. At least it opens up for me. I hope it opens up for everybody else. If you have any kind of problems with that, I will download the video and I will give you a link for watching it. Let's say it like this. Make Robinson, that mobile game had me crying. It's so dumb. I haven't seen it yet. Oh, Beatrice from the Discord. to tell us that Tamisha talked about Drag Race at the beginning, but actually it's all in the stream that she did on YouTube. Okay, shouldn't keep too many things open, otherwise my stream will start skipping because the connection is the way it is. Unfortunately. Blake Robinson, what did you think? Who do you think was gonna win based on the Meet the Queens for the UK seasons? I didn't watch the Meet the Queens for the UK seasons. As a matter of fact, I didn't even watch all of the episodes, and I wasn't there with full attention because I didn't have that much free time since the Drag Race season 13 actually started, because the workload is so much and it's all done in our free time, which means we still have to work, we still have to make money, we still have to eat, pay rent, and so on. So I don't actually have that much time to go around and check for things and interact and go on social media and so on. If it's not something that I happen to see, then it's usually something that it's pointed out to me from you guys. So I didn't really follow Drag Race UK. I saw most of it, but not all of it. Not enough for making a review, or not enough to come out and say, oh, I noticed this and I noticed that. The only thing that I really noticed with Drag Race UK is that it feels real. It feels the way Drag Race used to feel, and most of that is because of the queens. They really are the star of the show. And the UK queens in season 1 and in season 2, they look like they are really letting go. It also helps the fact that the BBC has such strict terms for the way the queens are portrayed. They cannot teleport them with confessionals and use their words as if they were referred to somebody else, for example. That gives you much more freedom. It makes you much more relaxed. You can be more yourself because you don't have to live with the constant fear that you will be misunderstood, that you will be edited to say and refer to people you were not initially be referring to look like a bitch, to have shady noises going in the background, and so on and so forth. That's also one of the reasons the queens on Drag Race US, they are so overproduced. They produce themselves so much. You know, in a way, it's not just because they want to push their brand. In a way, it's also a defense mechanism against the edit and whatever is going on behind the scenes. So the first thing that I noticed is that it really feels like a diamond in the rough. And that's what I appreciate the most about Drag Race UK. You know, there is still editing, there is still producing, but all in all, it's a better quality than Drag Race US. I can just define it like that. It's better quality. Blake, I hope World of Wonder takes notes on why we enjoy UK so much and try to cool down with season 14 and All Stars. It's difficult. It's different companies, because you have to understand one thing. World of Wonder produces RuPaul's Drag Race for VH1, while the BBC is producing for the BBC. So it have different sets of rules. They have still collaborations with World of Wonder. You will see some of the producers from RuPaul's Drag Race US in the UK version, but mostly all of the power is on the BBC. So it's different. It's really different teams who are doing the show. I don't think that by this point we will get any kind of change in Drag Race, because the point is they are still making money. People are still talking about the show. Even though it's a shit show, they get called less and less and less, and people don't really go to them and tell them, what the fuck are you doing? You are destroying this show. Please get back on track. I don't think that this effect is really, really visible. Because for every viewer that tunes out because the show is it's basically all production value and no reality. For every viewer that tunes out, you have 2 new viewers who are completely naive and completely on board with whatever happens. As a matter of fact, I have had viewers on this channel coming on Livestream and telling me, for me, the best season was season 11. And I was like, I respect your opinion, but, I'm curious. Was that the first season that you saw? Because if was your first season, then I completely understand it. A ton of people fall in love with the first season of Drag Race that they see, myself included. So I understand that effect, but let's face it. Season 11, it was not as bad as season 13, but it was not good. At all. At all. It didn't help that it came after season 10. Melanie, at the UK finale, I thought Ginny was going to walk straight off. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You see, things like that don't happen on Drag Race US. That they simply don't happen. And it might also be because all of these queens spent so much money for the runways. The average, our estimate for the average is $30,000. You don't walk away from that. Just, it's different. It's really different. Star X-Ray says, now with the cast of All Star 6, if you have seen it, I'm not going to spoil it. How do you think they're going to balance storyline? Well, half of the cast is loud. It isn't a season with one loud girl. Is the cast of All Star 6 out? Guys, I'm out of the loop. I'm having... it doesn't help that I'm having a very stressful time right now. I'm not at all there. As you see, this is the first time since we started doing in the show in which I'm coming here and the confessional chart was not ready. So I'm really, really busy trying to do the best with the time that I have, but fuck, did I miss something? Did they announce the cast of All Star 6? Gothboy UK, I'm going to sound controversial here, but for what I've seen, most Evil 8 to UK queens came from the US view. Oh, you don't sound controversial at all. I'm sorry, but I agree with that. Mostly because the US viewers have been fed this kind of storylines over and over and over again. They are kind of trained to react like this. It's also their responsibility to manage the way they behave, but we should not forget about the effect of people who are actually enabling this kind of behavior. So I don't want to be disrespectful of the US viewers in general, but I tend to agree with that. Nora, investigative fans have found out the cast, not officially though. Then it counts as spoilers, and we don't want to have to deal with spoilers in here of any kind. Sometimes it can be acceptable, like for example for Drag Race UK, since I was not closely following the show, I didn't really have problem if I arrived like a day later and people wanted to talk about the episode. It was not really a problem, but as a general rule of thumb, we don't deal with spoilers of any kind on the channel. Speculations, all that you want. Queens talking outside of the show and spilling tea, absolutely yes. But any other kind of spoilers, no, please. Sometimes it's acceptable for me, but I have to give this thing up in favor of not having even only one viewer coming and say, well, I thought this was a spoiler-free show and I got this, so as a rule of thumb, no kind of spoilers of any kind. Star X-Ray says the season was filmed around 6 months ago. They haven't announced it. There is the cast on Red. Yes, I don't want to know. I don't care. I know as well that it was filmed this summer. As a matter of fact, it was filmed after season 13. So that we know already, and they are holding back. We also discussed about the fact that they had to edit so much and produce so much at World of Wonder, which might partially justified why they did such a fucked up job for season 12. Let's keep, when there will be an official announcement, we will discuss it. Don't worry about that. As a matter of fact, we will also have the chop for All Stars, like we had for last season of All Stars. So we will talk, we will discuss, we will go through the edit. Never forget how relatable Miss Relatable was for the last season of All Stars. So we will discuss it. Don't worry, it's only a matter of time. Iris Inspiration says, I'm also an RuPaul's Drag Race channel. How do you think I can grow my channel? That is a difficult question, okay? I will try to be as honest and direct as I can at the expense of sounding maybe rude or possibly disrespectful. So you know where I'm coming from. The most engagement that I have on this channel is if I make videos, generic videos that bring a lot of clips from the show. Okay, so it's not really much a matter of the kind of message that I want to send. It's more of the fact that YouTube is pushing videos that viewers can view and enjoy without thinking too much. This is what I see that is pushed the most. So compilation and easy discussions about compilations. This is what YouTube is pushing the most. Now, what I am enjoying the most out of this, since I started doing it, is the interactions with the viewers. It's going to the Discord, is finding people who have the same interest that I have and started sending me messages and showing me things that I might not notice, and then come on stream and discussion. And that is what I am personally enjoying the most. So, but you have to bring something original. When you have to do something that nobody is really doing. Otherwise, there will always be people who can do it better than you, who have been doing it longer than you. Unless there is something about you that's really, really peculiar and makes people intrigued by what you're doing, then it becomes really, really difficult. So, you know, it's you have to already be in the frame of mind that it's going to be a ton of work, and it's not going to really pay off in a monetary way for a long time. As a matter of fact, keep that out of your mind immediately. Don't even think about it. Try to while you do this, while you create Drag Race related content, try to make it your goal to have it bring you joy, to have it bring you something that it's a payoff for you, because money is not really what you can make, honestly. And another thing is quality of the editing. So find a program that is advanced enough to make things immediate and easy for you, but people are very, very sensitive to production value. YouTube has become crazy from this point of view. You need to be able to edit. You need to be able to edit very, very well, especially if you are trying to do something new. So if you're doing mostly commentary like we do for the Chop, for example, then editing is not really an issue, because the point is what you're saying. But if you're getting into the kind of compilation kind of gig, people will notice only great edit. So I hope I helped you with this. Groover Orna, do you prefer regular season of All Stars? Do you prefer regular season or All Stars? I used to enjoy All Stars more, mostly because it came so so rarely. So I was really excited about All Stars. It used to come every 4 years. Now it comes every year, and it's becoming kind of lackluster. So depending on the cast, more about the normal season. Unless it's a cast of Queen I've been waiting for ages to actually see. Then the moment they get home, I immediately lose interest. Seneca says, I am a US viewer and I believe that we brought aid to the UK Queen, so do not feel sorry, but I agree with you. Yeah, it's also, you also have to think about the fact the US is a big country. It's a big country. So of course, when you look at the average, even if it's the same kind of viewership, of course they're going to be more vocal. It's more people. Star X-Ray says, what are your opinion on Drag Race Down Under, and what is happening with season 14? Casting's been going on for very long. Is there a lack of girls, or I don't know. I don't know, because I have no intel on the casting for season 14. I know that it was there, but I don't have really intel. Let's not forget that casting was done last year by June. Okay, so it was in early June, possibly end of May, that they received the call, because they had 5 weeks to prepare. This was in the special that they did, the COVID the shit, I shouldn't have said that. The special. And so I don't know. Don't forget that casting is not something so immediate. They need to put out the call, which lasts for about a month. After that, they have to review all the tapes and decide who they want to actually see. Then they have to see these queens and interview them. Then after that, they will decide on some of the girls that they really want for the show. Usually it should be a pool of about double the queens that they need. Go with the psychological evaluation, and then finally put out the casting call. So it's a long process. I'm not surprised that it lasts for about 3 months. Sen, do you have any opinion on Drag Race Down Under? Oh yes, it was asked before. I know nothing about Drag Race Down Under. I knew that RuPaul went for filming, that she was in quarantine, and that there was some sort of drama with the one queen because of a tattoo, but no more than that. No more than that, because it's really I don't really have that much time, unfortunately, and Courtney Act is not on it. So I think it's a huge insult to Courtney Act, which is arguably the most famous drag queen in Australia. So it's a huge middle finger to her. So my opinion first is the disrespect. The damn disrespect. Gothboy UK says to Iris, just be yourself and speak your truth. People will naturally gravitate to you. That's how this channel grew. Yes, it's true. It's mostly true. But first, don't forget, first you need, and I know how it sounds, but you need to be in the good grace of this fucking YouTube algorithm, because we got out of it, and people have to actively search for our content. It doesn't really get suggested that much. It doesn't get suggested to the people who actually have a chance to be interested in it. I saw it happening in the views. So be sure to be in the algorithm good grace, because that will definitely change the impact that you have. Because even before having something to say, you need to have people's attention. That, I know how it sounds, it's sad, but you need the algorithm to actually suggest you to people. And then once they click, then your job is to entertain them. So be sure to always be in the algorithm good grace, which is a whole other topic. Fantasia, it's funny that you are bringing up social media presence. Because I have none. I understand that. I understand that completely. Fantasia continues, I started a new Instagram account for RuPaul's Drag Race games. Oh, good, good. Plug yourself. Put the link for everybody in the chat to see it. Come on, plug yourself. You are an approved user, so remember you can always post links. Instagram account for RuPaul's Drag Race games and trivia, and I'm trying to figure out how to present the games, like how to make clips. You need to find an editing software that will work with the constrictions that you have. So, I cannot really help you with that because I use only Blender. Have used only Blender, which is not easy on the resources, difficult to use, and you also have to find the clips to begin with. So, I don't know. I wish I had more times on my end to actually bring this all together and having like a game night on stream, bringing together some clever editing, some photoshopping, and all of this. It's all in fun. It's good fun. But it is work. You need the time to do that. And you need the machine to do it. Iris says, what season of RuPaul's Drag Race do you feel is the least rigged? My opinion is season 1. Well, in season 1, I still don't agree with Ongina losing that lip sync. So there has always been some sort of riggery going on. And don't forget, even season 2, that is my favorite season, there was a ton of pushing for Tyra. She always managed to have immunity the moment she completely fucked up the assignment. So there always been a little bit of something here and there. But I have to agree with you, it had to be season 1. Sen, I agree with that statement. It's a huge disrespect to Courtney for not being on Drag Race Down Under. Yes, and it's also a missed opportunity because she would have brought in a ton of viewers. It's added value to the brand. So RuPaul and World of Wonder should have been professional, like they asked the queens of the show to be. Swallow it up, shut the fuck up, be professional, and do their job. So don't try to be yourself what you're asking other people to be. It was a huge disappointment for me. Alithia, do you think that Candy, Jen, and Silky was raised to fail, to be the butt of the joke, like in the talent show where people who obviously can't sing are kept in the competition for a laugh? No, not necessarily the butt of the joke. I think it more as those kind of queens who are chosen to fit a very, very, very specific role. Like right now, Candy Muse is the one holding up the season, the only one bringing in any sort of drama, the only one stirring the pot, the only one with an effective storyline. All of this in the eyes of the producers, because I disagree with all of this. I see the sense, but I don't agree with it. Jen was the narrator for last season. Her job as a narrator was to always be there, but never pop out of the screen. And Silky was the season-long villain. They have this kind of roles in which it doesn't matter who you are. If you are good for that role, then you will become your edit. Nothing more, nothing less. Wind of Gusts asks, I knew about Gottmik prior to Drag Race. Yes, me too, because as a matter of fact, I saw her... I'm actually subscribed to Pearl's channel here on YouTube. I don't follow many queens, but the ones that I do follow, I follow them very closely. And she actually painted, a couple of years ago, she painted Pearl, so I knew who she was before. as well. And he continues, in one of her Instagram lives, she was in her white face makeup, and I commented saying her face looks like a donut, and I feel really bad. Well, I don't think that Gottmik is watching our live, but if she is, Wind of Gusts is saying sorry for saying that you look like a donut. Jules, funny and fabulous stream. I have to get my daughter from school. Future Jules signing out. Thank you for coming, Jules, and thank you for supporting us. Fantasia, I don't have an iPhone. I am a Samsung girl. Props to you. Props to you. If you know a guy here on YouTube called Louis Rossman, he is showing a ton of stuff about what's going on with Apple. And I would never buy an Apple product today. 15 years ago, absolutely. Today, never. Star X-Rays. Imagine if you were on Drag Race. What would you do behavior-wise? I don't know. I don't know because I'm not a drag queen to begin with. So that's a different set of mind. And I would never sign a contract giving away my likeness. But let's assume for a moment that I would be desperate enough to have to, actually put myself in that situation. I would try to be as composed as I can, because the premise is that I am desperate. That's why I gave away my likeness. So I will try to do whatever it can to make money out of it, because if I sign something like this, it means that I'm in huge financial trouble. So I would probably sell myself out and whore myself to the producers and whore myself to the edit as much as I possibly can, because that would be the only kind of motivator that I would have to put myself in that kind of situation. That's something that I would never do. My likeness is who I am, but I would never put it on somebody else's hand. Not without having last word on the edit. So if I would do something like that, I would do it because I need the money. So I would do what basically all of the queens are doing on the show. You whore yourself to storylines, producing and bringing this fakeness that somehow became the norm for this show. I know it doesn't really answer the question, but we also have to keep it pragmatically real. That is not something that I would ever do. Gothboy UK, from the past rumors, it's the producers who do the whoring. Oh my god. Oh my god. Alithia, I'd whore myself out in another way, but go. Oh yes, I can understand it. I am lucky because I actually live with my partner, so I don't have that problem. And so, but I do understand if you're single, and it's kind of a problem. Yes. But you see what my point is. Putting yourself in the kind of situation in which you participate in a reality TV show in which you sign away your likeness, the way people look at you, basically, the way you are portrayed, either you are really, really naive, or you are really, really desperate, or you like gambling, you love gambling. I don't see any other possible reason why anyone would sign in for something like that. Either you do it because you don't really know what you're doing it, or you're desperate enough to need that, or you're basically in love with gambling. I mean, Drag Race is a huge gamble with a huge payoff, but it also has a big downside that can destroy your drag career forever. As a matter of fact, the character Fifi O'Hara doesn't exist anymore. Doesn't exist anymore for a reason. So, I don't particularly enjoy gambling, not with those kind of stakes at all. You know, a little bit of gamble, having a poker game in the family. Yes, every once in a while, little stakes. It's fun. It's all in good fun. That kind of gambling, no, never. Never, ever, ever. Grover Horner, a whoring? Yes, absolutely. A whoring. I was playing a life simulator and I started to gamble and I lost like all my money. Yeah, I know. Gambling is another. We're talking about, you know, the pandemic that it's going on, but gambling, it's going to be a huge pandemic. It already is, but it's going to be even stronger in the future because states needs to make money. The easiest way to make money for a state or a city is gambling. Lotteries, casinos, that's the easiest way to make money for a state. So stay away from this kind of shit as much as you can, because it really becomes, you know, you add people. I follow a channel from a reviewer called Jim Sterling, who has this show called The Jimquisition, who actually came out as gender fluid. So, and he brings great critiques. I really appreciate the raw energy and everything else that comes with it. But he's been talking for years and years and years of the plague of gambling in games and how gambling was basically gave an easy entrance to kids through loot boxes, through surprise mechanics, and so on. So you know that's going to get even worse, because the impact of what's happening is on a global scale. Our very foundation of the way we deal with economics will have to shift because of this. So in a way, it's a bad thing because it created an interruption in the flow of economics and money on a global scale. On the other hand, is an opportunity to move to a more effective kind of global economy. You know, that it's more on par of what are our actual needs at the moment. You know, we are not in the 1900s. We don't need a system that pushes constant grow all of the time. You know, we know how to build a car. We know how to build basic appliances. We don't need all of this anymore. What we need is reliability and learn to respect the boundaries of this earth. That doesn't mean that I don't like a kind of I don't like consuming, you know. I don't like this culture of consuming. I am in favor of open markets. I am in favor of innovation, but that cannot be 100% of the story. Otherwise, you end up with appliances that are really built to last for you for 2 years and then you trash them. This is unsustainable anymore. We can all take advantage of what's going on to shift our modes. I'm sorry, this is RuPaul's Drag Race is becoming an economic channel. I'm changing the topic. Sorry. Jules, Ongina will be my original winner. Mine as well. Along with Jujubee. See you later, Jules. Thank you for coming. Alethea, James uses they, them now. I watched the Simquisition since its inception. Oh, I didn't know about pronouns. I always have troubles remembering to use the appropriate pronouns. But, you know, it comes without offense, so I'm sure that it doesn't really care. I will try to use them now that I know it. Blake Robinson's, what's your dream celebrity human centipede? What the fuck? What the fuck? Also, which order would you like it to be? Oh my god. I didn't even watch the movie. I know what it's about, but... by god, Blake! Come on! Oh my god, I'm going to pass. If you don't mind, I'm going to pass on that. G Shaz7 asks, did you catch the UK series? It has it has the same format, of course, severely edited, but after watching it, I felt like it was edited better and look less produced as the current season. This current season is triggering attempts are just too bold and leave a sour taste in my mouth. Yes, as a matter of fact, I always discuss RuPaul's Drag Race UK. It always comes to mind. I didn't follow it in a manner in which I didn't make the chop for Drag Race UK, but I know what you mean. And also, the guys, the Frack Pack, talks a lot about it in the Discord. So if you want to spend time talking with other people, like there's always somebody connected to the server, there is a link in the description for that. But yes, I bring it up from time to time, and I agree with you. It's refreshing. There is still editing, everybody sees it, but it flows more naturally. It doesn't feel overproduced like by a mile. Alethea, I don't think they mind. By the way, I use those too. I'll try to remember that. Groover Orna, I love her Drag Race Down Under is getting bad press because of the two racist contestants. Yes, I heard something about it, but I didn't go too much in details. I'll probably bring myself up to date when the show actually comes out. Blake, there was a contestant for Down Under who deleted a lot of posts before getting announced. A good move for them. Oh yes, that's what you have to do. You know, even if you have very little that was actually controversial, you have to keep your social media in check, because there are people out there who will take whatever you have and misconstrue it if necessary, and fuck you up because of your social media history. You don't need to actually say anything compromising. Almost anything. If you are outspoken enough in the how much is it, 50 words that you can use on Twitter, that is more than enough to build a narrative about who you are. So that's what you have to do today. There's no doubt about that. Grover, I have a theory that most of us in Europe like Lawrence more, and in the US they like Bimini more. I think Bimini, embodies more what they are used to as top of Drag Race, which is witty, great runways, skinny. I don't know. I like them both, honestly. I connected a little bit more with Lawrence, but that could be because I would like to fuck her, so you never know. Let's have a drink. Let's have a vape. Groover continues, basically a queen from Drag Race Down Under. Dead blackface. Oh, shit. Well, that is a very difficult topic. People are very sensitive about it. I do not condone it at all. I don't need to explain myself on that. It's self-explanatory. But I've also seen example of people pointing fingers just for the sake of pointing fingers. So I'm not going to comment on that because I don't know what is actually going on with that. With that said, let's not forget what's happening with Raven. I mean, and people are divided about her, but there is a clear difference about what was happening in Hollywood in the 1920s and the fact that somebody is using bronzer and pushing boundaries with that. So, it is how it is. Fantasia, Top, are you trying to play the Drag Race game? What do you mean by that? Play the Drag Race game? Oh, the one on the mobile game. Yes, I will try to play it. You know that I have an emulator on the computer. I will definitely give you a review of the game. Groover, Raven did a reverse Michael Jackson. In a way, yes. In a way, yes. But, people went to Raven and says, you're doing blackface. And, come on. You can have any opinion that you want about it, but that was not blackface. And it could have been, somebody told me the correct term once. It was like race fishing or something. That I could almost see, but I don't know. I am the last person that should give an opinion on that because I'm not a person of color, so I might be skewed. I'm going to keep it at that. Carrie, there is a drag race game? Yes, produced by World of Wonder. Available on iOS and Android. Carrie, Raven is probably addicted to tanning. That's my thought exactly. I don't know if I'm too naive about it, but that's my thought exactly. Blake, are there any lip sync songs you want to be performed again? Like how When I Grow Up or Stronger got another performance, and I would like Opposite Attracts again. Did we have Opposite Attracts in the show? Because we had a ton of Paula Abdul, but I don't think we ever had Opposite Attract. I used it in the last episode actually. Songs that I would like some iconic songs to come again to the race. So I will go for anything Paul Abdul, that is for sure. That screams power bottoming, which is exactly the sensation that I want from a lip sync. So anything Paul Abdul, absolutely. Anything from the 80s, yes, unless it was a very, very iconic lip sync. In that case, no, don't, because it feels like it forces a comparison between the two kind of lip sync. So I cannot think of anything on the top of my mind right now. I'm thinking about songs that were iconic for me and still don't get to go on Drag Race, maybe because they are too expensive. Like I would definitely love something from Cher, like something like Just Like Jesse James, for example. I would live for a lip sync with that song. So yes, there are a ton of songs that they could use. I don't really see a need to reuse the same songs, And, queens get compared continuously. They are always bombarded with being put in a competition format. Who is better than what? Who is on top of who did a better job, and at the end of the day we're talking about art, and art is subjective, and the fact that we get introduced through a competition is one thing, but that doesn't mean that it has to be the only frame in which you see drag, so I don't necessarily endorse comparisons. Because, at that level, it starts to take a toll because it's always being put in a competition, always being compared to someone, always being told, oh, you are the new Valentina, you are the new Katya, you are the new Trixie, you are the new Bianca Del Rio, I understand why it happens, but I assume that it really takes a toll on these queens. So I try to, take a little bit of a step back from it. Oh, Dixie, you read my mind. And you say, I think we have to be careful about this kind of topics becoming a kind of witch hunt. That is the same sensation that I have. I don't want to discount people's suffering, But I also have a feeling that a ton of people are using it as kind of a gateway to allow themselves to be aggressive toward other people, as if we are naturally brought to, in a way, we live in a society that doesn't really teach you how to channel your aggressive feelings in a way that can be constructive and can actually make your life better. It's not something that you easily find in education. We are mostly told to repress any kind of aggressive feelings that we have. So I am left with this impression that a ton of people, especially on Twitter, especially on social media in general, they take advantage, they hide behind the cause when all they really want to do is to feel themselves free to be aggressive toward other people. It's repressed aggression. That's what I get, which is a terrible thing, because sometimes these kind of issues are deeply rooted in a society and will continue to have an effect on societies for a long time. It's, it's part of the natural evolution. So it makes it in a way disgusting, if you ask me. I see it happening, for example, with gay representation, which is something that I will talk about because I'm a gay man at the end of the day. And I find it really disgusting. I find it seeing people being treated with aggression because they are disrespecting us. I don't think they're disrespecting me at all. So if I need help, I will ask for it. Thank you if you want to be an ally, but don't use that as a gateway to basically shit in the name of somebody else. If I need help, I will ask for it. Oh my God. It's too late for these kind of topics. I like to talk. I mean, we can talk about these kind of things. This is an open space, and I will always give you my opinion with the adequate premise, but it will come. It's no problem. It's just that, these are topics you have to be very careful about the wording that you have, because even though, we are in our family, we understand the way we talk to each other, we've been talking with each other for a long time, but you still want to think really twice about the wording that you have, because these are sensitive topics. These are really sensitive topics. Blake, how's the wife? Wife? Don't have a wife. I can assure you, I don't have a wife. Well, if he's a wife, he talks like a man. Carrie says, I heard that Raven has a tanning bed in her home. I hope for Raven that she uses the chemical tanners, because it's really not good. UV rays are really not good for your skin, not at that level. So I hope she uses, tanning solutions. Coffee. At this point, I won't believe otherwise. Nor Veg says, I love your channel, just stumbled on it today. Then welcome. Welcome. It's nice to have new viewers. It's really like the end of the stream. We started like 3 hours and a half ago, but welcome and thanks for joining it. Nova continues, finally, I don't feel like in an echo chamber with the producers, judges, and previous contestants. Yes, we try to keep it as real as possible. Blake, who won the commercial this week for you? Absolutely Tina Burner. Tina Burner. She had me. She had me when the prospective husband was whipping her to force her to drink the drink so she could become a total slut. That really had me cackling. It was really, really good. To me, she won. She definitely won. Runway, it was not on par with Gottmik, but she killed the commercial so much that to me, she definitely won. Kai Liao says, will you ever do a face reveal? It's never going to happen. I can assure you, it's never going to happen. And there is nothing special. So you won't be left thinking, oh my God, is such a gorgeous man not showing it. No, it's nothing special. Don't worry about that. You won't notice me in the street, I can tell you that much. Dixie, I agree that there are definitely lip-sync songs that should be retired, and of course, the Shut Up and Drive is one of them, and everything that Gigi ever lip-synced to. Lol, gosh, I miss her. Yeah, I mean, if it was a bad interpretation of the song and you want to give it justice, then why not? Why not? But, you know, there is so much commercial music, so much iconic commercial music. So, you know, get new music. Get new music. Groover, I think the problem with Raven is that she wrote on a dating site in her bio that she doesn't want chocolate or rice, which means black or Asian people, and then she tends her skin to look black. Oh, I can totally understand the backlash from that. I can totally understand it. But I also believe that that kind of issues is being misconstrued, because you are allowed to like whatever you like. I will not go to people, and I am a gay man who has been told his whole life that he had to like women. So, fuck you. I like men, and I am free to like men. So for me, that is the same exact issue. Now, then again, she is a public person, but that is her private profile. So if she would use her platform to tell people not to like chocolate or rice, that is another thing. As a private person, she has the right to like whatever the fuck she likes. Because this is exactly the kind of oppression that we have to endure again and again over the years. So you know what I would tell you is... not you, I don't mean necessarily you, but to people who go with this kind of thoughts that, oh no, you have to like what I tell you to like, fuck you, I like what I like. Now, invest your energy in more education in schools, in more education in media, so that people since a very, very young age are reached with the message that diversity means diversity of experience, and diversity of experience enriches you. So invest your energy in that, because if you take me as an adult, it's too late. I'm not going to fuck a woman. I don't like it. And if she doesn't like African or African Americans or Asian people, that's her fucking prerogative. So I am all for inclusion, but don't bring this kind of bullshit. I'm not talking directly to you, Groover. I know you're just transmitting the message, but this is what I think of this kind of people. You cannot come to us as grown people and tell, oh, you have to like this, you have that. Fuck you. Fuck you. Bring more education in school. Bring this message from a very, very young age so that we can all interject this message and be more open to new and different experiences, which, trust me, in the end will enrich your life. As a matter of fact, I have had women. I didn't like it. But I'm curious, so of course, if the opportunity comes, why not? But being told what I have to like, no. No, I'm sorry. This is a topic that really triggers me. It really, really triggers me. Lena, I come back from filling out forms for work, and the chat is still going. Oh yeah, we are still going. As a matter of fact, I had like a kind of heated moment. I'm sorry. Blake, if he did do a face reveal, we would know it's just come more out of drag. I'm not that beautiful. I'm not that beautiful. Alethea, cool that you have recommended the Tentacruel new video. There's another one about music, how it can be manipulative. Well, as a matter of fact, you are the one who actually introduced me to his channel. He doesn't publish much, but every time he does publish is a very good video. It's worth your time, especially if you have a deep interest in music. But this one that he did about reality TV is really insightful, especially for us and especially for what we do on this channel. Damn chat. Blake, do you have any comments on the super straight situation? I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Oh, Groover, there you are. I get where you're coming from. I think people are just bringing it up a bit of her hypocrisy. Yes, I see how it can come off as hypocritical, because you say, well, I don't like that, but I would like to be that. It sounds manipulative. Because, you know, there is this narrative, you know, it could still be a bad combination. You loved being tanned, and on top of that, you don't like people of color. So it's a difficult situation, because if you start bringing in the narrative that she is blackfishing and also coming off as somebody who actively excludes, because it sounds like she's like, I'm actively excluding you, I'm sending out this message that you have to exclude. It's a bad combination of things. But then again, I would be more interested in listening to our viewers of color and your opinion on the matter, because at the end of the day, I'm still a white man, so I still come from a skewed perspective. So please put in your comments, put in your opinion on the situation. I'm sure it's more interesting than mine. Gothboy UK, and with that note, I'm off to bed. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming. Coffee, love you guys. I had my one beer. Good for you. Alethea, I think there's a difference between liking men and women versus liking men, but only certain category of men. I see your point, because you are talking about a different kind of biology, a different kind of behavior, a different kind of identity. I see your point, but for me, it comes from the same place. I mean, at the end of the day, I won't start bringing in the criterion that there has to be a certain degree of difference for you to be able to like something or dislike something else. You are a human, you're allowed to like whatever the fuck you want, without any kind of criterion. With that said, I see what you mean. Sen, I think what Blake is referring to is super straight. Is the super straight. It is pretty much a new sexuality that is transphobic. I have no concept of that. I never heard it before. Is that like, what is it? What is it? Alethea, there's a 4chan meme. Super straight equals... I cannot say that, and I cannot see the other word before, but thank you. Thank you. Okay, Sen, it's a new sexuality that people made it that is transphobic, like mocking the community and their activism. Don't these people have anything to do with their life? I mean, you are allowed to be straight and you know, do it. The moment you need to do something against somebody else to define your sexuality, then you have some personality problems. You know, if you base your whole identity about something else in general, then you have a problem with your identity. Then the fact that you tear down members of my community to do that, it makes it even worse. Carrie, night, great chat. Thank you, Carrie, for coming. Groover, I can't sleep, so I might as well chill here, but I like your channel and the people here. I like you too, don't worry. I'm all open for discussion. Sometimes I came off a little bit too, like I go off a little bit too much, but you know where it comes from. Blazing Bod, they didn't even found a better name than Super Straight. Kind of fitting if you ask me. Oh, yes. Super Straight. Groover, you really don't want to know you're gonna be pissed during your sleep. No, I won't be pissed. Sometimes I get too much in the moment. I'm not saying that some topic trigger me. No, it's just that I am a little bit more emotionally invested in them. But it's nothing crazy at the end of the day. Nora, I think the Super Straight thing was original, made to provoke people, but now some genuinely think they are super straight. Oh, you mean it started as a joke, as a mocking joke? I would completely understand it. It goes with this exaggerated thing of masculinity, which is like, come on. It's a matter of education, but for me, if we're talking about masculinity, for me it means something completely different from, being super straight and conquering your prey and so on and so forth. I come more from an education that being a man means being able to take care of the people you care for. You take responsibility, you take accountability, you don't hide from your mistakes, you learn from that. That's what I was taught as the meaning of being a man. San says they pretty much won't date a trans person, and these people want a real man or a woman. So it starts to think a little bit like a reaction movement. I can understand why it would come out, but let's not forget one thing. The trans community has always been there. The fact that today they have the means to be more vocal and ask for more rights, it's another topic in and of itself. But let's not act as if we didn't have trans men and trans women since the dawn of time, because they have always been part of society. We have all been always part of society. What changed is the society, not the people. With that said, I do understand people who say I wouldn't date a trans man or a trans woman. For me, that is not the problem. For me, is the lack of education of people being taught that genitalia don't make the person at an age in which that message can actually be effective. For me, that is the real problem. I mean, I have no problem with people saying I wouldn't date a trans man or a trans woman. You're allowed to like what you like. If you are not open to new experiences before you say I don't like it, that's your prerogative. That's your thing. What my message for the trans women and trans men out there is, it's their loss, not yours. That's as simple as that. Nora, that's a great point of view. It's fine to have a preference for cis people, but it doesn't make other straight people less straight for liking trans people. There you have it. There you have it. It's exactly the point. And every time this sort of discussion is brought on, you can always realize that it has more to do with the way these people have, with what these people have to do in order to define their own identity. You know, this is the irony in all of this. This is the thing that they are doing in order to define their own identity. What the fuck? What the fuck? You don't have to destroy other people's identity in order to define your own. I mean, how old are you? 15? You know, nothing against people in their teens. That is exactly the kind of things that you have to do. It's part of your development. But, you know, anyone over the age of 25 going with this kind of bullshit, it's in serious need of therapy. Where are we? Sen going to sleep. Thank you so much for coming, Sen. And thank you for supporting us. Blake says, I heard spoilers for All Stars 4 that said she won and sent Valentina home. Then Valentina came back and didn't. And the same didn't happen. I wish it happened. Sen, have a wonderful night, day, whatever it is. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we will see you on game night. On Thursday on the Discord. Blake, I prefer to not use labels myself, but I'm completely okay. I'm completely okay to those who do. Well, Blades. Shit. Blake says that that is completely okay with those who do. And I do understand the function of a label. It makes everything more easy. Because it immediately conveys an idea. The problem is when the label starts to become a constriction. You know, you are not free to be yourself anymore because you have to stay under the umbrella of the label. So it's one of those double-edged sword, if you know what I mean. So I tend to go with the same kind of way. I understand that it's useful, but you also have to be careful with it because it's really, really easy to slip down that road of, oh, you are not this because you do not respect all of these criterions. Dixie didn't get the impression at all that Raven was trying to look African American. I get the impression that is more Hispanic than she is trying to achieve. Yeah, I had the same impression. I didn't really get this much blackfishing, if you ask me. I mean, if we go from the Snatch Game, yes. I absolutely see the point. The way she came on for the Snatch Game in Season 13 and in Drag Race UK Season 2. But other than that, I don't know. It's a no for me. Alicia, I remember a trans guy who has gotten such a... I cannot read that. I cannot read that. Alicia, I cannot read. Please don't use this this direct language. Try to censor it because the YouTube algorithm is always creeping behind the scenes. The last thing that we want is to start being flagged and because nothing good happens from that, you know. Dixie, good night, everyone. Have a fabulous week, and I will see you on Sunday. Thank you, Dixie, for coming. Thank you so much. See you next Sunday. Blake, Top, do you watch American Horror Story? What's your favorite season if you do? Of American Horror Story? It has to... I love the first one. I thought it was so original. But after that, I think it was season 5? The witch one? I think it was really, really good. And the hotel I loved. You know, I loved it. I think that Gaga is a very good actress. I know it's an unpopular opinion. It's very popular to those who actually like Lady Gaga, not a very great fan of her music, but I think she's a reasonably good actress to be a singer. Daisy Bard says good night. Thank you so much for coming. Season 3 was Coven. Yes, Coven. I loved Coven. Fantasia, so which soda from the last episode would you buy? That is a nice question because my favorite ad was Tina. But I don't need her soda to become a complete slut because it's something that comes kind of natural to me. So I think I'm going to go with the Utecan because there are times in which I really feel down and what I needed to start to make fun of myself, act stupid and go for a good time. So I would definitely go with the Utecan. I would buy that. Wind of Gust, I heard that cigarette have a minty taste. Is that really true? No. They all taste like shit, I can assure you that. With that said, much of the way you process the feeling of a taste comes also from smelling. So the fact that some cigarettes smell like mint because they add, they have additives in there, might give you the impression that it tastes minty. Trust me, if anyone kisses you, you are still going to taste like an ashtray. I hope this answers your question. Blake, have you agreed with most of the wins this season? Would you re-award any other queens? I didn't agree with most of the wins this season. As a matter of fact, I think Denali, Utica, and in one instance, this episode, Tina, were completely robbed. You know, I agreed with some of the wins, but they are a huge minority. They are a huge minority. I almost disagree with every win. I almost disagree with every bottom two. I almost disagreed with everything this season. Everything. Groover, I think Olivia should be... Weren't you going to sleep? Oh no, maybe you told somebody else good night. Sorry. Where was I? Oh, I think Olivia's ad should have been some kind of hair serum soda that makes your hair grow really big. Oh yes, that's a good idea because that's part of the way she was branded on Drag Race. Big smile, big hair. Yes, that's a very good idea. Side effects includes bags becoming too small. That's really creative. That's really creative. Yeah, I mean, going for this big smile thing didn't really work. We're also sensitized to that. That might be one of the way, because it didn't really work for the way it appeared to me, at least. Lethia, menthol cigarettes taste menrollish. I don't know what menrollish means. Coffee, lol, still going to taste like an ashtray. Oh, yes. Yes. Okay, I'm going to call it a night for tonight. I really need to smoke. I'm tired, need to sleep, get something to eat, something quick because I didn't have much of a dinner tonight. So thanks everyone for coming. I will see you back next Sunday for the live stream. I will see you back if I manage to get this episode for this live stream coming out with some videos, because next week, especially the beginning of next week, it's going to be real crazy. Then I hope it slows down because it's being really too much. And on Thursday on the Discord, when we have our usual game night. So I hope that I will see you there as usual. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your suggestions. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for the links, especially, and keep me updated. And I will see you back next time. Thank you so much and have a great week. Good night, everyone.